world so obscene. No script, no filter, I speak what I see. Every angle, every side, it's all real to me. I dig through the noise, cut through the lies. Facts over feelings, I'm sharp like a knife. Small time streamer, no fame, no crown, but my voice is my own, I won't back down. I guess I'm too raw, too rough, too plain, but I'm spitting my heart, not chasing some game. No corporate leash, no puppet on strings. I'm free in my words, hear the truth that I bring. No big channel shine, no glitter, no fakes. Minimal effort, just me and my takes. I'm speaking the truth, let the whole world know. Small time streamer, but that's how I roll. Do my words hit hard, give the system the chills. Minimal effort, no budget, no frills. I'm carving my path, let the fire erupt. Small time dreamer with a voice that's enough. Got a webcam flicker and a beat in my chest. Bass takes in my veins, spilling facts is my quest. I'm breaking the mold, no mainstream appeal. Just a kid with a dream and a heart made of steel. I sift through the data, the left and the right. No bias, no agenda, just seeking the light. They laugh at my setup, my low-res stream, but my words cut deeper than the corporate screen. I guess I'm too raw, too rough, too plain, but I'm spitting my heart, not chasing some game. No corporate leash, no puppet on strings. I'm free in my words, hear the truth that I bring. No big channel shine, no glitter, no fakes. Minimal effort, just me and my takes. I'm speaking the truth, let the whole world know. Small time streamer, but that's how I roll. Do my words hit hard, give the system the chills. Minimal effort, no budget, no frills. I'm carving my path, let the fire erupt. Small time dreamer with a voice that's enough. I'm the spark in the dark, the glitch in the code. Carving my lane on this uncharted road. Million subs, no viral fame, but I'm owning the truth and I'm changing the game. I'll scream till my lungs give out, till the signal's dead. Every word that I speak is the blood that I bled. No big channel shine, no glitter, no fakes. Minimal effort, just me and my takes. I'm speaking the truth, let the whole world know. Small time streamer, but that's how I roll. Do my words hit hard, give the system the chills. Minimal effort, no budget, no frills. I'm carving my path, let the fire erupt. Small time dreamer with a voice that's enough.
Dude, I almost didn't make it back before the intro was over. I had to go grab a bottle of water, and then the cat ran over thinking I was going to be feeding her, even though she didn't need food because she's a pain in the ass. So, happy Monday, guys. We're here. There's only one time zone, that's Eastern American. You know, I have often lamented that I live on the West Coast because for live stream purposes and all that, it would be so much better to be on the East Coast. I mean, just even for video making, like for video content creation, if a story breaks and you want to try to get like ahead of everybody else, if you're awake 3 hours sooner, you've got a much better shot at like beating somebody else on the West Coast. So it is what it is. I like where I live, but at the same time, there are definite downsides. Okay, so looks like we got Big Gator here. We got Lugia in the chat. What's up, buddy? Susano, of course, NS and Hook were the first ones in. Black Capped. And I'm sure there's a few others that are in there that I missed. All right, so starting off, guys, I want to say there's a little bit of tragedy. Nothing tragic, but my daughter broke her finger last night playing softball for the first time in all these years.
Absolutely not. I like to be liked.
Irina
I enjoy
Zarutska.
being liked. I have to be liked.
Never forget her name, Irina Zarutska.
Iran. Damn you, Streamlabs. The disrespect, man. On the West Coast. I mean, no. So parts of Washington are okay. But dude, NS for 12 months, man. Full freaking year. Holy crap, dude. It has been a long year. Very weird year. But I appreciate you being here for the whole year, man. I really, really do. You've been awesome. But yes, my daughter, she was playing her first game of fall ball, which is it's like 6 weeks, guys. It's 6 games. But on the very first game, she's the only one on her team who can pitch, pretty much. And she was at bat, she got hit on the finger. She finished out the inning, went back and pitched for 2 more innings. By the 3rd or 4th inning, she was basically like trying to pitch with a broken finger. We didn't know it was broken at the time, but it was starting to turn purple. And she went out there and got drilled by a line drive from the biggest girl on the other team. I'm talking, she shot it right back into her leg. She dropped like a sack of potatoes. She was down. And so at that point, we're like, yeah, you're done. And then we looked at her finger a little more closely. And her finger's broken. So I took her to the doctor. We got x-rays. She has a tuft fracture. So it's like 4 weeks and a splint. She'll be fine, but it just sucks. Dude, Susano, I've never broken a bone in my life. Not a single freaking time. I don't know how. I don't know how it hasn't happened.
Do I need to be liked?
Holy crap, NS10? What the heck, man?
Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not.
I'm surprised we still have 10 subscribers.
Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not. I like to be liked.
Dude.
Do I need to be liked? Absolutely
Freaking
not.
NS with
I
a
like
10
to be
gifted,
liked.
man. Holy crap.
I enjoy being liked. I have to be liked.
You know, Black Cat, she's got grit. She's got determination. She's a strong girl. Dude, NS, man. Holy crap. All right, let me find the applause because, man, you deserve some applause right now. Holy crap. Broke your arm? Dude, that blows. Like I said, I've never broken a single bone in my life. I've sprained things, I've torn things, I've injured things. I take it back. I think I broke my thumb, but I just kind of toughed it out. No pun intended. But it was just one of those things where I was playing football and I got my thumb jammed and it basically turned purple and I couldn't move it for like 3 or 4 weeks. So it was probably broken, but I don't know. But dude, NS, man, holy crap, dude. Thank you so much, man. It's funny, Asmongold looks like he's floating in the middle of my screen. That is so bizarre. So yeah, that's the little update for me in life. Everything else is kind of the same, chaos and busy with work and stress with life and everything else. But yeah, that was definitely unexpected. Broken fingers are never fun. So let's go ahead and get into it right now. Let's go ahead and get to the first quick topic. Pop Warner football. See, my kids all do baseball. None of my kids do football. It's potentially fatal to have a fracture or a break. Forget why. Okay, so here's what they said. Here's what they said with her finger. So because it's her right index finger and the hematoma, where the serious like blood, I guess call it a blood blister, I don't know what else you'd call it, is sitting right on the tip of her finger, right? And based on the way that her finger looked, he was concerned that the bone might have actually chipped off and left that part of the finger and actually gone up into the tip. But the x-ray showed that it was just a crack in the very tip. But apparently it could be very serious. So it's a good thing. She has like the most best case scenario when it comes to a break, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I take it back. So my second oldest kid, well, how do I say this? My daughter's twin brother. So I've got 3 kids. So I have 2 that are the same age. But he's the boy twin, she's the girl twin. He broke his wrist 2 years ago playing baseball. Not even anything to do with the sport. He was just goofing off in the outfield and he literally just let himself drop on the ground and cracked his wrist. And so, I mean, this is the second time we've had a bone broken during a baseball or softball game, but it was completely not related to the game, at least the first time around. But no, he had a cast on for, I think, like 2 months. It was crazy. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of broken bones or anything getting seriously damaged. So a little update on the Roach King. I saw this morning somebody had posted this montage clip here that says not a single Twitter post or a Glow YouTube video, Kick stream, Twitch stream in almost a week. I know what he is going through as I lost my dad in 2016 to pancreatic cancer. Helping his dad is a full-time job. We're all hoping Asmongold and Giga Dad are okay. And got legal prescription for opioids. Nice. Yeah, the real football. Dude, we were trying to watch the NFL. It was briefly on my TV yesterday because the Seahawks and all that, right? I just don't care. And I found myself like sitting here going, I am genuinely bored out of my mind. I have nothing. Like no interest whatsoever in it, man. I'm lurking, got a lot on my plate here at work. I'm going to listen and only chime in if something funny pops in as a response. Well, good luck with that. It depends on what your sense of humor is like tonight. There will be some stuff that comes up, but no, not Pirate Software. Actually, Asmongold. Yeah, no, he's always been the Roach King. See, they called Pirate Software a roach because he roached out in that World of Warcraft game, but I think Asmongold's always been the Roach King, as far as I know. Yeah, DB, don't worry, dude. Yeah, no, Asmon is because he actually legitimately lived with roaches. That's a whole different story. Have to get up at 4 Eastern time. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, Big Gator, man, you get some sleep. Don't stay up on my account. That's crazy. That's what I'm saying. East Coast guys. I don't want to live on the East Coast. I could live in Florida, don't get me wrong. Maybe not dealing with the hurricanes and all that shit, but there's parts I could deal with. So it says, Asmongold has announced he is stepping away from streaming indefinitely to focus on his father, who is currently battling pancreatic cancer. This is kind of something that he's alluded to in the past, is that he just doesn't have the ability to take care of his dad and stream full-time. Not watching streamers enough, that's not a bad thing. Susano, the thing is, if you're constantly watching streamers, it means that you are invested, I would say, in other people's lives or opinions, which is not a bad thing, but it also means that, you know, if you spend your entire day watching other people live their life, it's kind of like, at that point, it's like watching reality TV, you know? And I say that as somebody who streams a couple times a week, but I don't get into the IRL streamers. I don't watch like an entire 8 to 10 to 12 hours of Asmongold. Like, if I catch him streaming during the course of the day, I might watch for an hour or two while I'm at work, and that's about it. And it also typically depends on like the topic, if there's something interesting going on or whatnot. So Asmongold had responded today with a tweet that he put out there. Says, TLDR, my dad's health is really bad and I have to take time off to deal with it, which is, again, is something he has alluded to in the past that was going to happen. As a lot of you guys know, my dad's been going through a lot of medical turmoil in the last few months. Originally, he went to the hospital for pneumonia and then upon leaving had a test that showed acute liver failure that turned out to be pancreatic cancer. Not a good day. Pancreatic cancer is hell. I watched my brother go through it for a whole whopping 4 months from diagnosis to death. Not a fun thing. No, DB, I've actually have a family friend. He's worked with us in the past, and he's an old guy. He's like in his 70s. But he's lost 2 brothers, or I think 1 brother and 1 brother-in-law now, to various types of cancer. And it's brutal. It's terrible, man. Took care of my dad as long as I could in his last few days. Yeah. It was time with my dad I wouldn't have lost if I hadn't. Strangers online don't matter. Yeah, dude, exactly. I mean, it matters if you get to know somebody personally and if you can actually create a real relationship as much as is possible through the internet. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter or it's not real. I've been that person before that's like, you know, oh, people you know online aren't real people, right? But at the same time, you can form genuine relationships and actually get to know people through the internet. I've done it. It's just a matter of at what level are you invested in their life versus your own. And at some point, you do have to take care of your own shit first, you know? I think that's kind of the way I look at it. Hey, Smeg. Isn't it redundant to start a post with TLDR? No, I mean, if he wants to allow people to bypass having to read the entire thing, I actually kind of appreciate that, because if you put a TLDR first, it saves people having the time to read. So, I've always had a problem with cancer in the sense that I see it as some sort of evil in as some evil in a childish sense, since I saw my grandfather succumb to. No, I mean, I think viewing cancer as kind of like let's say a demonic force or some sort of evil entity, it makes sense. I mean, I get it. The only thing is, it is scientific and there are causes to it, although the causes and the cure, I'm not going to get into that on YouTube because, again, this is not a medical stream and I'm not going to share conspiracy theories and the crazy things going on in my head about the medical field and everything else. But I do think a lot of us believe that there are other factors at play that cause cancer, and regarding the treatment of cancer, I think that there's a lot there, to be discussed. Pancreatic is one of the worst ones to deal with, yeah. If it gets anything beyond stage 1, it's almost guaranteed death sentence. My brother's was originally a liver problem, then boom, bummer, yeah. So the thing is, I remember I was talking to you guys because I went to that Creed concert where Three Doors Down was supposed to be, and Brad Arnold from Three Doors Down has cancer, and his was kidney cancer that turned into lung cancer, and so he has both. And I mean, that's just like the 1-2 punch right there. One's bad enough, but having two types of, highly dangerous, highly lethal cancer in your body, it's insane. Majority of readers don't actually read more than the headlines. After that are skimmers. I mean, that's true too. That is a real thing, especially with scientific stuff, medicine and all that. So he said as a lot of you guys know, my dad's been going through a lot of medical turmoil. Originally, he went to the hospital for pneumonia. After the diagnosis, we took him to an oncologist who recommended chemotherapy, which we did. I'm not here's the crazy thing. I've been related to people who've gone through chemotherapy, and I'm not the biggest fan. Again, not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I can't say that it's the worst thing to do, but I've seen the ups and downs of chemotherapy. First week was fine, but the day of the second treatment, by the end of it, he was so effed up and had so much difficulty breathing that he didn't sleep more than an hour at a time. It was so severe, I ended up sleeping on the floor next to his bed that night in case something went even more wrong. Next day comes, we take him to the doctor, and of course they recommend him to go to the hospital because his blood pressure was some insanely low number, like 74/53. That was about 5 days ago, and that's basically where we're still at now. There have been marginal improvements, but in a general sense, things are not looking great, although I remain hopeless. I remain hopeful regardless. I'm projecting right now. I'm like, holy shit. Because of the severity, this will require my full attention until it's resolved one way or another, which means streams will be on hiatus until that time comes. Rest assured, there's nothing I'd rather more do than go live and continue on like I always do, but my obligation to my father must take priority. I think that's the base. That's really the best way to treat this. It's like, you've got limited time with your family as it is, especially when they're sick and they need you. You got to be there for them. I don't have a time frame or an expectation because of how uncertain things are right now, but I'll update you all when I know more myself. I know a lot of you guys have already reached out, and just know that both I and my dad appreciate the kind words. Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of the update on Asmongold. For a lot of people, I'm just used to him going on Twitch, and every day at 11 o'clock my time, I see an pop up that he's streaming, even if I'm not watching him that day. It's one of those things you get used to seeing every single day. So when you go 5, 6, 7 days and something has changed completely from your schedule, from your routine, it's definitely kind of a trip, Disclaimer, this channel is not giving medical advice, 100%. Nothing causes cancer. Things simply wake it up. Cancer is the original sin of disease. You don't catch it, it's always there. Just something can trigger it to surface. That's an interesting take. Again, I'm not gonna try to agree with, dispute, argue, or give any sort of advice. So moving on from the less cheerful and more bleak and depressing parts of Twitter, this is a pretty cool one. Coffee tables. I don't know if any of you guys own one or not, but coffee tables are one of those things that in theory always seem like a cool idea, and then you put one right in front of your couch, and then you're constantly banging your legs and stuff on it every time you get up. This dude actually made a fully functioning robotic coffee table. This is pretty freaking awesome. Check this out. A lot of us are smarter than doctors. I'm not going to disagree with you there. Hey, Tekla. Yeah, Asmon he's younger than me. I'm pretty sure. But it's like, where can I get a coffee table like this? Yeah, Hook, I agree with you there, buddy. I mean, this is the coolest thing ever. I just want to know how it's powered. I don't know if it's like, I imagine it's an electric motor, not gas. That'd smell really bad inside. But yeah, I need something like that. Oh wait, he's got it out here too. Oh, he's got it walking on a bridge. But I can't believe how freaking sturdy and like smooth it is. Nothing's even rocking around on the top of the table. Which is why some cancers are hereditary. Okay, interesting. Oh, okay, guys. We want to talk about something that's trippy as hell. Okay. This is from Alter Ego. I had never heard of this before until this morning. Introducing Alter Ego, the world's first near telepathic wearable that enables silent communication at the speed of thought. Alter Ego makes AI an extension of the human mind. We've made several breakthroughs since our work started at MIT. We're announcing those today. This thing is freaky as hell, okay? Just get a load of this.
But only for the thoughts you want to share. With Alter Ego, you talk...
Let me restart it.
Alter Ego gives you the power of telepathy, but only for the thoughts you want to share. With Alter Ego, you talk just like you normally would, but without making a sound.
Hey, H. Brown.
Let me show you how it works. We all have moments when inspiration strikes and you want to save an idea before it slips away. You can now capture those instantly without lifting a finger. For example, just gonna see if that synced. Oh yeah, awesome. Alter Ego has tiny cameras built in and can make sense of the world around me from my perspective. Here, I have a postcard. And
I'm just going to say it. My first thought when I first started looking at this was, oh my God, it's going to be a scam. If you know, you know.
when I find something interesting, I can point to specific parts and ask questions about what I'm seeing.
Yeah, H. Brown, you know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's Europa, who represents Europe shaking hands with America to celebrate the first transatlantic telegraph cable.
That's cool.
Okay, reminder is added to your notes app.
Awesome. You can get so much done with Alter Ego, but I want to talk about how it changes communication. This is where it gets really interesting. Alter Ego works with your other devices, but it also works with other people wearing an Alter Ego. It feels almost telepathic.
Where do you want to get lunch after this? Thai food could be good.
It doesn't matter where Arnav and I are. It could be a noisy environment or a quiet office.
I don't know. I feel like this is so beyond anything that's even necessary. It's crazy. Talk about picking the wrong spokesperson. I mean, it's these two guys, I guess, that came up with it. I don't know. He's from FAANG or what the majors. Granted, this be used by me for training data. Yeah, I assume it has something to do with data harvesting or whatnot.
Having a direct conversation is possible without saying a word. The signals Alter Ego detects aren't affected by environmental noise. So even if you're walking past a wind tunnel or a construction zone, what you want to say will always get across. It's like having infinite noise cancellation.
If you're traveling, your silent speech can be converted into any language. So Scott, how's my Mandarin?
Wait, what? No freaking way.
如果我来上海的话，希望你能带我转转。
Now, here's my question. That has to be pre-recorded, because isn't that the same voice that this guy Arnav has here? So there's no way that the machine he's hooked up to is actually taking the sound of his voice from his thoughts and projecting that through the speaker in Mandarin so the other guy can hear it. This just seems insane. This will be a tech demo, not operable. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. No, Anvek, we have not gotten there yet, actually. Pitchford, I think, is the third topic in line. He's either number 2 or number 3. We're just getting through the little bit of stuff I've been looking at on Twitter the past couple days. And H. Brown, it's really funny because I just showed my kids Jurassic Park for the first time Saturday afternoon. We were sitting here watching it. And yeah, that line Malcolm has, just because you didn't stop to think whether or not you should, right? That's one of those things. Pre-recorded, yeah. Great game controller. I mean, there's game controllers for some of this kind of stuff, right? Like there's
For all of human history, we've built tools to...
I've seen stuff where people are using like the Neuralink to play video games and all that. People who are like 90% paralyzed and all that.
Extend our abilities. But we never perfected the tool and the interface to extend the human mind. Alter Ego gives us that, a way to communicate at the speed of thought. We believe this is the beginning of that future, where technology is no longer an external box we
Oh yeah, Tekla, I just saw that December uploaded one today. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
carry, but a natural extension of who we are. Thank you for being here with us today at the beginning of that future. You can visit us at alterego.io to sign up for early access.
Yes, sign up for early access. Oh, no worries, Anvek. Appreciate you, buddy. So yeah, this is a weird one. I just watched Decembro. The only thing close to this is the computer that Hawkins has. Yeah, plus like whatever Neuralink stuff that is out there. Did you guys see this whole thing with this old woman at the baseball game, the Karen, that stole the baseball from this kid? So again, not that big of a deal. I thought about covering this on my second channel, but it was one of those things that happened. So they're rummaging around for this home run ball right here. Dad runs over and grabs it, gives it to his kid. You know, doing what you do at a baseball game. And Karen comes over here, grabs him, basically badgers him, berates him until he finally gives the ball back just to get her off his back, right? After the game, they gave the kid a signed baseball bat because, again, this guy was being such a bitch. So the team made it right. But the funniest part was the dad completely cucked. He caved. He gave the gal the ball just to get her off his back, which, I'm sorry, that's pathetic behavior. So the memes that have been coming out of this is absolutely like, it's gold. This one here, I just saw this today. Shohei Kondo shared it. This one is fantastic. Again, AI is getting pretty crazy. Oh man, that's too good. The dad needs some nuts. I know, right? Hey, Cage. Oh my god, yeah. Well, at Hook, technically, here's the thing. If a ball lands, everybody rushes to it. I've been at lots of baseball games. Everybody runs to the ball. Doesn't matter if it's in your section, doesn't matter if it's someone else's section. Whoever gets to it first, it's kind of a free-for-all. You know, was it in his section? No, it was in his section. It wasn't in his row. So would I have done it? Probably not. I don't typically go that far away from my seat to go chasing a home run ball. This person didn't belong in the game, in my opinion. I saw something on Facebook where a local band to Philadelphia had said that apparently this same woman had smashed a merch table at one of their concerts, you know? And I said it with the immune system saying no to it. We're talking about the
presence are the best
telepathy
way
thing,
to
yeah.
show someone how much you care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to.
Karen
and say,
exemplifying
"Hey,
who
man,
ruins
I
hobbies for
love
everyone,
you.
but especially men and their
This
sons.
many
Yeah.
dollars worth."
I bet you that Karen wants the ball, so she could get it signed and sell it on eBay.
That wouldn't surprise me, Lucia. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me. The crazy thing is just the level of vitriol. Here's one thing. Okay, so Hook said, you know, if someone runs in front of you from a different section, is it stealing? I don't think it is. I think it's maybe a little scummy behavior to go that far out of your way to get a ball, but if it's not in somebody's hand, she was trying to claim that he ripped it out of her hand, right? He's trying to claim that she straight up stole it from him. The ball's loose on the ground. Anybody from any section, it's fair game. That's unfortunately just the way it goes, especially at baseball games. There's a lot of people there. It is what it is, right? And Lugia, thanks for the 5, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the law of the land at a sporting event. Something's on the ground, somebody's going to pick it up. So she just wasn't fast enough. To go over after he gives it to his kid and demand it back, I'm sorry. I don't see any justifiable reason for that. And then, of course, she flipped off the entire section. It was this big thing. So the crazy part about this is that this whole thing had a life of its own. People were even saying that she had been doxxed. They doxed the wrong person. She got fired from her job. It wasn't really her. Like, the amount of stories that have come out of this thing over a stupid baseball blows my mind. Especially since if I go to a sporting event anymore, which is very rare, I don't try to get autographs. I don't try to go chase down balls. I'm like, you know what? It cost us enough money to get here. I'm going to sit in my seat, eat my food, enjoy the weather, enjoy the scenery, and go home as soon as possible to avoid the traffic. Yeah, it's a game. It's meant to be a game. Hope this behavior isn't normalized. I mean, who knows? It's just, here's the thing. even if you want to argue that the guy shouldn't have left his section to go chase down a ball, he gave it to his kid. This chick wanted it for herself. I mean, general rule of thumb when it comes to a sporting event, if there's kids there, you give the kids the stuff. I mean, autographs, fly balls, foul balls, hand it to a kid. I don't need another ball. I've got all sorts of sports shit I don't need. She's down when he cuts in to take it. I've never seen him rip it out of her hand. Like, she claimed he straight up took it out of his hand. Well, Hook, here's the thing. I mean, like, again, I wouldn't have done what he did and go that far out of my road to chase down a home run ball. Two wrongs don't make a right. I mean, maybe they're both dicks. I'm sorry. If she didn't secure it, and I didn't see any video of him ripping it out of her hand, like she claimed. Hey, Mari. 3 balls is enough for me. What do you do with the third one? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Never mind. Don't tell me. Hands aren't on in the video. Seat's blocking it, but she's down. Interesting. I don't know. To me, it looks like something I've seen a million times at any sporting event I've ever been to. I mean, when there's a ball that gets loose in the audience, it's a free-for-all. I just kind of look at it that way. It's like, whatever. Bright says you can tell she doesn't have the kids to pass this kind of behavior on to. Yeah. No, and that's the thing, too. That's where the Karen thing comes out. Let's go with Hook's line of thinking here for a minute and be like, okay, so the dad's a dick. He ran over to a section that he wasn't from. He took advantage of her dropping it, stole it from her, and let's say that she was the one that had it and then she dropped it. Okay. Not cool. At the end of the day, should she have marched over, grabbed his arm, and yelled at him in front of his kid? No. Like I said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. I'm sorry. It's a freaking baseball. It's a baseball game. I get it. It's cool. It's a home run ball. Trust me, my kids all play sports. I love baseball. To me, it's not that important. It's not worth it. Comes down to whose dad is the strongest and fastest. Yeah. Well, Tekla, when it comes to sporting events, if you're a dad and you have kids there, your job, if it's possible, is to obtain whatever the object is to hand off to your kid. If I caught a foul ball, I'm going to immediately hand it to one of my kids. I'm not keeping it for myself. Hey, Ash, how's it going? He didn't rip it out of her hands. It was in his seat, and she was too short to get a good grip. Guy picked it fair and square. Yeah, in fact, you can make the argument that he shouldn't have gone that far out of where his row was or his seat would. But again, the thing about sporting events, especially baseball stadiums, maybe this is one of those things where it's a difference in experience. So the Mariners Stadium here in Washington, up in Seattle, it holds like 44 or 46,000 people. Most of the games, only half the people are even seated and everyone's just kind of milling around. So 90% of the balls that land a lot of times bounce off of the standing viewing areas. They bounce off like where the food courts are. They hit a wall and they fall down, and God only knows where those are going to end up. So people are generally used to the idea that you're going to have to like scavenge around to get a hold of the ball. I think it's just the way maybe it's just a different mentality. I totally look at it that way as somebody who's gone to a lot of baseball games. Well, appreciate it. Well, we're getting into a lot of stuff coming up here. Seen far harder struggles for a game ball to end it without that kind of crash out. Right. I mean, that's just kind of the way I feel about it. To catch a foul ball while holding a beer. Lugia, I rarely will spend the money on a beer out anywhere because it's so freaking expensive. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, guys, at the end of the day, it's not that important. It's not worth trying to decide and dissect, did she have her hand on it? How many fingers were touching it? You can think that both things were dickish. I think that even if she had a hand on it, her reaction was insane. Because again, based on what I've seen at sporting events, that was not even that big of a deal. There's been straight up altercations where people shove and yell and push and fight over the stupidest things. That was so benign, it's not even funny. Hold these for free. Always been that way. Not my rules. I don't even know what the rules are on this venue. What are we talking about? Oh, just the way that it works. I mean, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, people just are going to try their hardest to get a hold of free shit. People do. It doesn't matter what the free thing is, guys. It could be something worth a penny, and if it's free, people are going to go diving for it, So here's a funny one that I saw. You can also just ask for the balls. Yeah, but I mean, depends on. Are we talking about like foul balls? Because those get snagged up pretty fast. Arrested for spraying water on someone and say that my country's effed. So there's some caveats to this. I don't think he was actually arrested, but yeah, so it says Breaking Bad star Raymond Cruz has been arrested for spraying a child with a hose. One of the things about this, it says child. The person that he sprayed was driving a car, so clearly could be legal child, like 16 years old, 17 years old, but not a little child. We're not talking about a tiny little like toddler or like an 8-year-old. The quote here says Cruz was washing his car and asked the girl to move out of the way. So what happened is she parked her car right next to his as he's washing his car, right? Cruz was washing his car. When she didn't, she allegedly got sprayed and believed he did it on purpose. And that's when she called the cops. The funniest thing is this right here. I said he did nothing wrong. With, of course, like the Rockwell meme. It's got like 38,000 likes. It's crazy shit. But yeah, this is one of those insanities. Like, again, people being complete Karens. Like, oh no, you got me wet. I just don't even know what this world is turning into at this point. Oh, guys, don't fight over the Karen with the baseball. It's not that important. I only thought it was funny because the Gollum meme. So here's a good one. Devolver Digital shared this, that apparently in this new game called Baby Steps, it's like Human Fall Flat or any of those other games that have zero balance whatsoever. There's apparently a slide made out of breast milk. I kid you not. This is the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen. So yeah, I think that's supposed to be a nipple. Aren't the wizards who commit crimes that are 23... Smeg, you've seen the meme, right? That when it says, when they say teen, it means something else. No, Susano, I imagine in places like Japan, they're probably a lot more civil than they are here in the US. People here in the US go nuts over that kind of stuff. I think it's simply a US thing. The obsession with celebrities, like autographs, signatures, sports memorabilia, souvenirs, I think it's primarily a US thing. Hey, geek. Games brain rot, yeah, 100%. But the funniest thing, and I know it's not true because it's been disproven, but Sophia Narwitz here says, damn, I thought Devolver was more original, but they literally just ripped off Blizzard. Again, talking about the breast milk from Blizzard, Grums and all that. I know it didn't actually happen, but it's funny. 4 primary legal ages, 15 and a half, 16, 18, 21, and 24. Criminals normally 18 in the US. There are exceptions, but God, talking about age of consent and all that kind of stuff, I just don't even go there. I'm like, I wish everything was 21 and up. I swear to God, I wish. This is what PlayStation's looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, good old PlayStation. All right, so here's a fun one. Closeted gay man, this is from Trigger Point, gets uncomfortable when a woman tries to seduce the male character. This is, of course, we had to share the clip of DSP last week and his staggeringly amazing Hollow Knight gameplay. And so here he is playing Metal Gear Solid.
Oh my God, this is the worst dialogue ever. It's like a cheap porno. Like freaking Kojima is just such a perv. Look what he put in the game.
The funny part is this is not the first time he's done this. It says closeted gay man gets uncomfortable when a woman tries to seduce the male character. This is the funniest thing because DSP constantly, when there was that trailer for, I think it was Onimusha, where the female character was behind a waterfall and didn't have any clothes on, but she was blocked by the water. He's like, why is the girl naked? Why aren't the guys naked? This is sexist. It's like, oh my God. Hey, Granola Grin. Oh, hey, Moxie Raid. Oh my God, I'm not even paying attention. Hey, Oblivion. Sophia, base trans. Yeah, if there's such a thing. I follow Sophia. He, him, she, her, they, them, it, whatever he calls himself. He tends to be pretty normal, pretty, I'll say down to earth, despite the trans part of him, but whatever. Hey, Pulse, not too much, buddy. Can you even say DSP played a game? It's an oxymoron. Yeah. DSP's acting? So he doesn't actually believe anything he says. It's all an act entirely. Oh, so Moxie isn't here herself. She sends all you guys. Well, I'll tell her thank you. Actually, I need to shoot her a message because she hasn't done her Star Trek reading thing for a couple months now, and I missed out on the last one. Not sure if she's going to do one for October or not. We'll see. You guys aren't still talking about the baseball thing, are you? Guys, I'm sorry I even brought it up. Okay, let's move on. Come on. There's better stuff than that. Trigger Point also has one that says, Zoomer tries playing 1980s baby game. I wouldn't call Mario a baby game, okay? Hey, Burner. Plenty of these games back from when I was a kid, after you haven't played a side-scrolling game for a while, will sometimes legitimately kick your ass. Like, for example, Donkey Kong. I went back years ago after having played games like that my entire childhood and tried playing Donkey Kong Country, and I got destroyed, okay? So, the camera was on the whole time, DSP, yeah. So, of course, you got a VTuber here playing the original Super Mario Brothers. This is fantastic. Oh, I'm going to hide myself for a second.
This part is risky. Because I need to try to hit, like...
Dude, I can't even tell you how many times I did that growing up.
Guys, I'm gonna... This time I'm really gonna do it, chat. Oh my god!
I mean, you have not experienced pain until you've done stuff like that over and over. Now, I remember at the end of Super Mario Brothers, to get to Bowser's Castle, there's like the last level I want to say you have to jump across all these gaps and time it. Like, there are some legit difficult levels in the original Mario game. So I wouldn't call it a baby game at all. Preteen, maybe, yeah. You know, the funny thing is I never actually had Battletoads growing up. I think I played it later on. Can't watch VTubers. I don't have an issue with VTubers. I just don't personally watch them myself. It's kind of like anime for me. I have nothing against anime. I just don't watch it. Same goes for VTubers. I don't have any that I specifically seek out to watch. Could be the level of theatrics. Like, for example, I know that some of the big VTubers like Kershaw and stuff are very animated, very expressive, and that's cool. But at the same time, I like people who are a little more boring and dry. Go figure. Tried playing Crash Bandicoot and I keep dying. That's a baby game. Dude, I'm going to tell you, there is something to getting used to playing 3D games, three-dimensional games, you know, moving around first person and stuff, and then going back and trying to get good at a side-scrolling game. It will kick your ass for a while when you're out of, you know, when you're out of the groove. I feel the same. Many VTubers are creepy. They can be, but I think some are pretty cool. I just, again, don't have any that I particularly watch. Hey, Burnham. Kirsch is the only one covering DEI monoliths. That's possible. I know that she does a lot of coverage of that, so it's very likely she's probably the only one covering it. Hang on a second. What was that? Oh, Burner, old school throwback. Oh my god. I appreciate that, man, but I'm not going to bring that up on stream. They're actors that they're doing it for a living. They have agencies and so on. It's actually required that you're able to act, or was required. Yeah, what was that whole VShojo thing and all that, right? The VTuber agencies and all the shit that went on with them, and the whole damn thing got burned to the ground and all that. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Silksong is difficult, but it's not unbearable. So we're going to talk about Silksong in a few minutes. But it's crazy how many people are raging like that it's the most difficult game ever. There's an article I have brought up in a few minutes here that actually calls it a Metroidvania Souls-like, and I'm cringing when they use that term. Oh, that was just for me. I appreciate it, Burner. That was awesome. I only watch Leaflet, Elena, and the Romanian Troll. I mean, yeah, V. But V, didn't he used to record videos where he actually had his face in front of a camera on his second channel? I swear he did. Could have sworn he did. Anime's art, though, you're missing out. I don't have any issue with anime, and some of it looks really cool. I just don't have time. Like Richie on Discord, one of the mods, I've known him for a few years now. He was asking me if I can proofread something for him, and it's like, well, how long is it? Because I legit don't have any free time. So it's like, if I get to it, it's like I've got this backlog of things that I have to do, and unfortunately, nothing gets done because I've got too many things on my plate, you know? All right, so Legacy Color says, I've now seen at least a dozen big YouTube channels. Now we're going to talk about the YouTube situation going on. I'm sure pretty much everyone knows at this point YouTube is having algorithmic problems. There's a problem on YouTube, and nobody can quite figure out what the problem is, right? From like a decade ago, he only switched to the troll avatar a few years ago. I mean, up to a couple of years ago, he was still recording with his face. Oh, you used to game with V. I thought that I was gaming with V one time, and I was playing, not Crusader Kings, Chivalry 2. And somebody had the name Romanian V in there, and I asked him afterwards on Twitter, I'm like, hey, was that you? And he's like, no, I don't play gay games. I'm like, okay. No, surprisingly, Anvek, it's not the journalists that are raging. It's well, we'll get to it. All right, so Legacy Color says, we've seen at least a dozen big YouTube channels discussing how the recent AI, verification, and restricted mode changes are destroying views and reach. YouTube has thus far said nothing is wrong. Clearly something is, as almost every creator is seeing lower than usual views. Of course, Big Fry has covered a lot of this. He put together this thread. Says, you know, on July 29th, YouTube announced that they are rolling out new AI tools that estimate users' age based on the type of videos a user is searching for, the categories of videos they watched, or the longevity of the account. When the system identifies a teen user, YouTube automatically applied their age-appropriate experience and protections, including disabling personalized advertising, turning on digital well-being tools, which is a load of crap, adding safeguards to recommendations, including limiting repetitive views of some kinds of content. Basically, you've watched too many Roblox videos, go watch something else. YouTube has a feature that you can turn on called restricted mode. This is the most important part here, because I've tested this out. Restricted mode that hides controversial or mature content. That's the intent of restricted mode, but that's not what it does. What I think is happening is YouTube is applying to this channels behind the scenes. So when a user is deemed under 18 by the new AI tools, they aren't shown quote unquote controversial or mature content, or at the very least, that content is no longer being recommended to the viewer. So you have to go on your general settings and turn the toggle off. Problem is, Mari, who's in the chat, Tacta Gamer, who's a big YouTuber that is a super family-friendly, nice guy, but he covers tactical shooter games, but he's super PG, doesn't swear, doesn't curse, nothing profane. I am very, very mellow when it comes to my language, when it comes to a lot of the topics I cover. Once in a while, we'll cover something that's a little bit more mature, but, you know, I tend to be very PG-13. I don't want your kids to walk in the room, if you have any kids, and you have to hide what you're listening to or watching. So I try to make sure that I'm able to be like, you know, fairly sanitized. Not just for YouTube purposes, just in general. I don't want my kids to walk out and think that, you know, I'm saying something horrible or profane, right? Whatever. I tested it out. I went to my other channel, turned on restricted mode, and then went to this channel. 4 or 5 of my videos from the past 2 months, which is the majority of my videos, were all invisible. Most of my live streams were all invisible. Yeah, Mari, her videos, nothing but one from 7 months ago was visible when I checked her channel. Okay? So it's not doing what it's supposed to. This whole, toggle for restricting mature content, it's crap. It's a load of BS. I think they're expressing topics of the videos. Okay, so Lucia, here's the thing. Check this out. Turn on restricted mode and then look at my videos. I have 2 on Pirate Software, 2. Both of them got 175 to 187,000 views. One of them's hidden, one of them's not. Not even kidding. So I don't think it is specific to topics. I think that it's just a bug. I think there's just a glitch. I think it's just something. Mari, if you go to like another channel, like if you switch it to a different account and turn on restricted mode and look at your channel, the only video, the most recent video that popped up for me when I looked at your channel was the one that you did talking about the Washington Redskins from like 7 months ago. Your Assassin's Creed videos didn't show up. There's a couple videos that you've done since then that didn't show up. No, it doesn't mean that they are. It means that the AI system has put them in that category, even if they're not. That's the crazy part. So, suggested videos have been lame lately. Every refresh, the same lineup compared to how it would change before update. I mean, so everything is screwed up with YouTube. Everything is messed up. Okay, everything is really screwed up. Yo, you think it's the hate speech? Who knows? Well, hate speech isn't real. It's just weird. Now, that's only if the person doesn't know and they have restricted mode turn on. Not everybody who's having their videos suppressed is suffering because of restricted mode. I want to be very clear. I have put out videos that suck. I have put out videos that I don't think deserved as many views as they got. So I'm not going to use this as a crutch where I go, well, my videos would get thousands of views if not for big bad YouTube. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pull like that victim blame game shit. You know, I'll own it if my videos suck. That's fine. The issue I have is it's not just me. I got over that. I got over the whole, you know, maybe it's just me. Now I'm looking at it going, everybody's experiencing this. Like, everybody. When I think of the kids, yes, Meg, I'll think of my kids. And I'll do the job that parenting is required, where I police what my kids see and what my kids watch. You know, yes, I'll think of the kids, but I'm only thinking of my kids, you know? My recommends are filled with auto-dubbed Indian shite. Oh my god. Yeah. AI system's also reading comments posted on those videos, and any of those comments are spicy, it'll get flagged restricted. Very good point, DB Wild. Very good point. People you're friends with will impact what gets put in your feeds. It's simple, but also more complicated than people make it out to be. That is also a thing, too. I mean, it happens on Twitter all the time. Like, I'll be like, some random person pops up on my feed. I'm like, why the hell am I seeing this? And then I'll realize one person I follow follows that person. So that person had to have liked something from that person, and they popped up on mine as a recommendation. I think YouTube Kids ought to be required for kids and leave the primary alone. Yeah, no, Susano, that's 100%. Like, my kids' account is a kid's account. Now, granted, there's still shit on YouTube Kids that they shouldn't be watching either, but that's for me to have to go through. But yes, I mean, there should be way less moderation in terms of the adult YouTube than what we have right now. Not supposed to parent my kids? Oh man, I already screwed up. Nure, who said, YouTube is really out here gaslighting my audience. My last upload was 10 days ago, not a month ago. This should be illegal. And again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So she's live streamed and done several videos talking about the new Bloodlines 2 game, and none of those appear. You see, there's a video from a month ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, and there's far more than that she's done recently, but none of it shows up. So Stuttering Craig says, I investigated YouTube's restricted mode and was shocked what I found. We're producing videos that much of our audience has never had the opportunity to see. In addition, the last 5 episodes of Side Scrollers, the lifeblood of our business that YouTube shows, was over 1 year ago. If you're seeing our live shows, it's a miracle. In addition to our channel Side Scroller podcast, I also looked at Cinemassacre, The Critical Drinker, and Asmongold. Guess what? Same drastic results. Now, I have not watched this video yet, so this is about 4 minutes long. We can all watch this together because I have not seen this yet.
So I've seen a lot of YouTubers talking about the downtick in their channels based off some changes that YouTube's made. And it's been built around this restricted mode that YouTube implemented that apparently has been just added to people, just got turned on to a lot of people's accounts. I thought to myself, how bad could it really be? And then I actually looked at it, and what I'm about to show you is legitimately shocking. I saw it and my jaw dropped when I saw this. This is amazing. Let me just pull up our channel here, just to kind of show you exactly what we're looking at. So here's our channel. You can see a lot of videos. We post 2 to 3 a day. Just kind of pay attention to these right here. You see the view count. We traditionally were doing between 15, maybe 10 to...
She's cursing like a sailor, so at least it's not impossible to figure out why. Oh, we're talking about blabbering, or blabs? Yeah. I don't typically watch side scrollers a whole lot. I've used to catch maybe an hour or so here or there in the morning, if I got to work early or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. It's like the more you curse, the more controversial subjects you talk about. If you have a video or a live stream that gets demonetized because of, you know, the subject matter, clearly that's going to end up on the age restricted side of YouTube. That makes sense.
The 20,000 views a video. Obviously that's seen a tremendous downtick. It's like, are we wrong? Or, you know, it's one of those like, are you wrong? Are we wrong? Do people not care about us? So you start like questioning yourself as you go in. But it turns out when you go up and you scroll down here to restricted mode, this is with it off. Let me just kind of show you what it looks like on. So pay attention to the videos down.
Well, see, Avernum, that's a thing. So that's a legitimate thing. There are a lot of channels, for example, New Blackstreet over with Atreus and Kata. Their live streams do very well. They get like 100, 140, 150 plus live viewers every stream, which is really good for a channel that's only got 2,000 subscribers. Like massive applause to them. That's a fantastic number of live viewers for a channel with only 2,000 subs. Their videos get like no views because they are a live streaming channel. They're not a video uploading channel. So when they do clips of their live stream on their channel, their videos don't get as many views, right? Hey, Demon Child. Restrictive mode has been around. I noticed it years ago at work. It's something to do with the firewall, they say at work. Yeah. So the thing is, though, it hasn't been an issue where people are having restricted mode enabled without them knowing it. I think that's the AI thing that we're talking about. His live streams turn into more politics than video games. I wish they focus more on games. Oh, so they're becoming the quartering, basically. Sad that earning and censoring are aligned mainly because it's not aligned to creators per se. Yeah, Susanna, it's unfortunate because it's one of those things where the advertisers are going to have certain ideologies maybe that they're aligned with and they don't want it on the wrong channel, let's say. I did because it was on by default. Oh, interesting. He no longer streams with them because they kicked him off the show. Just wasn't made public. Yeah, I mean, they had that where they kind of addressed it, but it was weird. It was a very strange situation.
There. Notice the most recent video, if restricted mode is turned on, was 7 days ago, 10 days ago, 13 days ago, 2 weeks ago. These videos did not perform well at all either, right? But you can kind of see what happened here. These videos are 1 month ago. Take a look at this. I click on live. The most recent live stream that popped up is from 1 year ago.
This is what I'm talking about. It's like, are you telling me that for the entire last year, they've had every one of their live streams has been age restricted? Like, I guess it's possible depending on the topics that you cover, but it seems highly unlikely that every single live stream would venture into that territory, right? Last time I felt as liberated as I did for you doing a YouTube reset by logging out and revisiting as a guest from a different browser was when I went streaking through the... Oh, man. Quarter Planet is just an ad read now or him talking about crapping his pants. That was Quarter Pounder. Everyone right now check. I'd be curious, if you guys check, if you switch on restricted mode and you check my videos, I'm pretty sure the last one you'll see... At least when I checked it myself, this is what happened. The last video I had was one of the 2 pirate software videos I did that showed up. Not both of them. One of them. It was weird. I don't know. And it was around the same time. So I went from those 2 videos on pirate software, very drama-filled topic, right? So a lot of views. People are like watching all the pirate software downfall and stuff. People love when big channels fall. That's just kind of human nature, unfortunately. But then I went and recorded my video on the whole Roblox situation. Uploaded it the day that this AI verification stuff went into place, and my views immediately tanked. I'm talking the first day I had like less than 400 views on that video. Now again, Roblox is not normally my cup of tea, but it was about the shit going on around Roblox, not the game itself. So he has some valid takes. As long as it didn't go off on gooning and religion, I can tolerate him. So Avernum, here's what I noticed, and this is coming from somebody who I purchased the Ghost of the Badlands, the one that he did with Alexopolis, and generally was a fan of Razorfist. He's used some of my memes in his videos in the past. Like, I was a fan. What I don't like about Razorfist, when it comes down to it, all the allegations aside, whether or not those are true, again, remains to be seen, about the girl that he was dating and what her age was and all this other weird stuff and all that. I don't want to go into that territory because there's a lot of unproven stuff. Biggest issue I have with Razorfist is he acts like a pompous, sanctimonious prick on Twitter. And that's really what it comes down to. Again, he pulls out every massively long, like super smart sounding word out of his thesaurus he possibly can to try to like insult people. And sometimes it's like, dude, you're trying too hard. Sometimes just calling somebody a regular old slur works, you know?
So there is a 0% chance that you're getting our live streams right now. Everybody who has a live stream has seen this dip down. I am shocked by this, to say the least. Well, let's just go and look at like another one, a very popular channel, Cinemassacre. I've known James forever. This is before restrictive mode has turned on. Let's just go ahead and turn restrictive mode on for him. And let's just see kind of what happens here. Phantom of the Opera, Wildlife Classics. So his most recent Mario Paint video wasn't seen at all. Let's go and take a look at Critical Drinker here. Most recent video. He's always going to do well. He's super smart guy, mega talented. Critical Drinker. Just taking a look, see what happens here on the refresh. Okay, 2 months ago, the most recent video popped up. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Now let's just take a look at Asmongold. This is before.
Hey, you know what? Whatever serves your purposes in the moment. If you feel like saying it, just let it out, you know? Hey, Mahendra, not too much. We really are delving into like the meat of the topics that for tonight. We haven't talked about Hollow Knight or Borderlands 4 yet, so we haven't really gotten to anything yet.
Restricted mode was turned on. Most recent video, 6 days. He's got a great team over there producing lots of really good videos. But let's just see what happens with restricted mode turned on with a refresh here. See what happens. 11 days, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks.
Yeah, a lot of his shit disappeared.
So you can see things are affecting everybody, and it's insane. When you see YouTubers complain, they're like, "Oh, my views are down." Yeah, because they're producing videos that you're not even seeing. YouTube is.
So the question though that I have, and this is coming from me as a YouTuber, that it would be really nice to play the victim. Like I would love to be like, "Oh, it's not my fault. It's not that I suck. It's that YouTube sucks." My issue with that, my only issue, and the pushback I'll give on this topic is we don't know how many people are like having restricted mode enabled without knowing it, right? Again, it's a nice theory, and it's very likely true because YouTube has had a lot of problems. Their AI detection system sucks. The age verification thing sucks. It all sucks. Like, I'm on board saying it all sucks. The only problem I have is we don't know for sure that everybody is having this problem because all these former viewers now have restricted mode on.
Isn't even serving it up. So once again, go into your restricted mode and go turn it off. Once again, I think it's important to show you guys exactly how to flip this around because it is a
right. Vernum, that's the thing. The restricted mode is massively wacky. It's screwed up. It is so screwy. It's not even funny. That's why I said on restricted mode, 2 videos that I have on the same guy, same topic, similar amount of views, high view videos. One shows up under restricted mode, one doesn't. It doesn't make sense. There's no consistency.
A drastic change. Go up here to the upper corner, go up here, click this, go to restricted mode. If it's on, flip it off, and you'll see all of a sudden, wow, videos just start showing up again. It's crazy.
What I will say is that is true because I've tested that for myself, and I've tested it with channels, like I said, like Mari, who's super PG, super family friendly. No, she's not a YouTube Kids channel, but none of her videos, I've watched them all, should have any problem. Coming back, adapt or die, that's the law. Well, you have to adapt, right? That's literally the name of the game. Unfortunately, sometimes it's impossible to adapt. So, quick update on the Life is Strange live action before we dive into everything else, because this was something that came up. Apparently, there's like nobody involved over at Don't Nod or Deck 9 that's going to be working on this Life is Strange live action show. So anybody that had any hope at all, I know Mahendra that you liked the original couple games. I know that a lot of people who don't necessarily care for like the girl boss woke weird shit still enjoyed the first couple games. Don't have any hope for this show. It's going to be on Amazon, I believe. It's either Amazon or Netflix. And they're not bringing on practically anybody from the original game to work as a consultant or anything else, it seems like. Playing devil's side here, don't blame the system, leverage and adapt around it. Yeah, I mean, the system sucks. I have no problem saying the system sucks. The question is, how do you adapt? And that's really what it comes down to. Is there even the possibility for adapting is the real issue. Only the first game's good? Don't know. I've never played them. I own the first game. I got it for free. But apparently this is coming from people who worked at Don't Nod saying, yeah, basically, we have no say in how any of this goes. So don't even have any hope for that. All right. Let's get to the first big topic. Concord's Deathversary. I think this was, 2 days ago that we had the anniversary of it shutting down. Today is, the 8th? When did this game shut down? I think it was on the 6th of last year, wasn't it? You have to pay for licenses, fees, and all sorts of other stuff when making film. Nor should there be from a business standpoint. Oh, you're responding to a Vernum. How do you adapt a system that feels like it decides its rules by tossing a die? Yeah, that would be the other side of it. It's like, how do you adapt to something that is constantly doing its best to to keep you from succeeding, right? There are ways to try to adapt, but how? When did Concord shut down? I think it was, September 6th. So it was a year and 2 days ago. Good old Hollywood, first thing they do is dump the material, not a game I've played, but fits what you see a lot with games converted to TV and movies. Don't care to remember that date. Yeah. Part of why, even when they take from source materials, they often deny having done as such. Yeah.
It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
Don't nod, more like don't bother. Rolling on the floor laughing.
Dude, that is like a top tier comment right there. Holy shit. Thanks for the 2 Luigi. Appreciate you, dude. But yeah, that is fantastic. Don't bother. I feel like they should not bother with like half the crap they make in Hollywood, to be honest. So, article here from PC Games N says Concord doesn't deserve its quote greatest flop of all time label ex-dev suggest. A group of developers seemingly discussing the demise of Concord say that it felt like a mercy killing when its servers were shut down. Well, it essentially was. Let's be honest. Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. Dude, that is going to be garbage. I swear to God. Here's the thing. Look, I'm not... You know, guys, I am not like the king of the gooners. I have no problem with the gooning. I'm fine with it. I hate using that term because the term gooning is like, well, we just used to apply, the term like, ogling or enjoying nice looking women. I don't know. It didn't used to be a thing. But I'm not the guy that needs all the fan service. I don't need as much jigglage as possible. I just need good looking characters and a good story and good gameplay. That's it. That's all I need. That being said, crap, where were we going with this? Oh, Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. I'm sorry. She has zero sex appeal, in my opinion, whatsoever. And Lara Croft is all about sex appeal. I mean, they had freaking Angelina Jolie play her. And while those movies, said the biggest gooner, I am not the biggest gooner, you know. There are several people here in the chat that are bigger gooners than me, okay? Hey, Truth. True, that term means you're jerking it or flicking the bean. Okay, I guess that's true, yeah. I just like, good-looking people. Your comments are getting zapped away. Hang on, let me scroll up. You said, I just checked my music videos channel in restricted mode. The only video hidden is the one I posted about YouTube being a platform in decay. That is hysterical. Oh my God. That is crazy. Well, Tekla, I don't know how I can self-censor more, because like I already said, I'm generally pretty PG-13, if not just PG most of the time, except for maybe a few topics here or there, or if I'm irritated for a stream. And there's not much I can do as far as that goes. Wouldn't know that if I didn't have a kid that age. Ah, fair enough. Term's also overused. It's overused like a lot of other terms. Giant gooner here. See, there you go. I knew that you guys had my back. But yeah, I mean, it's surprising that they didn't just make her black and gay, but she could still be gay in the show. We'll see. All right, it says it's been a year since Concord, the Sony-backed competitive FPS game, shut down a couple weeks after its infamous launch. With AAA visuals, a big development budget, promises of regular storytelling through high-quality cinematics. Again, this is something that nobody gave two craps about. That was really what it came down to, I think. You took all these ugly characters, you added the pronouns, and then you said, oh, we're going to give you guys regular high-quality cinematics. We don't care. It's a shooter game. Give us good gameplay. And even a spot in Amazon's gaming anthology series Secret Level, both Sony and developer Firewalk were gunning for it to be the next big multiplayer hit. What transpired was the opposite, poor reception to its reveal, and we all know the rest. So, there's a podcast that, I guess it's only had like 9 episodes, called A Life Well Wasted, which is perfect for Concord. Features several game developers talking candidly about their time at a particular studio and their feelings towards a now delisted game they built there. After analyzing the names of some of the interviewees, I can say with confidence that they are discussing Firewalk Studios and Concord. So I guess they tried to do this as anonymously as possible, which is kind of weird, in my opinion. But on Reset Era, Of all the places we'd have to go, yes, reset era. It sucks. I know. I hate it. There is actually a bunch of quotes that we're going to look through right now. There are more over on Fandom Pulse, but we don't go there no more. I saw my good buddy Kilted Cajun used Fandom Pulse's article for his video, and I'm sure that that probably was disgusting to him to have to use, but I'm just not interested. I'm not going to do it. Dude, Arc Raiders looks sick. Arc Raiders looks legitimately good. I'm actually excited and happy for that. From what I looked into, PlayStation was way too hands-off, and they're almost always hands-off with devs. Well, see, the thing was, the story, as it turns out, was, I guess, that they jumped in only like a year before it was released, and basically had to pump a whole bunch of money into it because the game was a mess, and it wasn't enough to fix it. That's, as I recall, the story around Concord. I don't think that was a different game. I'm pretty sure that was Concord. They also sold the game really poorly. It felt like a single-player narrative experience, and semi ended up a hero shooter, right? It seemed like nobody knew what they were doing. It seemed like nobody was on the same page. And remember, this is the studio that allegedly had the person who called herself the professor and stuff. Just a bunch of weirdos. Again, in my state, I understand. I experience life around these people all the time. So I know exactly the kind of personalities that probably would have been working at that studio. All right, so it says here, I flew to Seattle and recorded interviews with 11 people from this studio. Again, they don't say who the studio is. Engineers, producers, and artists, people who worked together on a huge project that failed spectacularly and disappeared overnight. The game they spent years making no longer exists. Obviously, they're talking about Concord. Okay. So it says here, on working at Firewalk, and here's some quotes. Okay. It says, I'm going to zoom in case you guys try to read along, although it's pretty tiny. I don't think that's going to work. Saying something way too spicy for YouTube comments? Oh, come on. How could it be too spicy for YouTube? Everything we talk about is too spicy for YouTube anyways. Oh man, okay, you're not wrong there. Holy crap. Hey, Quillpig. Bunch of hipsters who never grew out of their high school personalities. Basically, that and people who had to identify by their pronouns, you know. All right, so here's the quotes on working at Firewalk. And this is definitely going to tell you guys everything about the studio in just the first few lines here. I know I felt like I would run into battle and die for the company that day, the teaser reveal day. I was ecstatic. I miss it immensely, all this interviewing and talking to other companies. I want to bring my whole old team there. They always ask me, why did I like working at the studio so much? And I was like, I really enjoyed the team, the people, that's what I miss. People were kind to each other. If someone had a bad day, people would be super supportive and be like, take the time. If you're not feeling good, go home. Okay, look, here's the thing. I understand that your mental health is always going to be more important than whatever your day in and day out job is. However, these are some extremely coddled, pathetic people. And we've seen this day in and day out, time and time again. Every time you see these day in the life of a Google employee, day in the life of a, whatever studio employee, these people have their smoothie bar and their little workout area and their yoga mats and their relaxation area and their, everything. It's just pathetic. These are not adults. No, they really are not. Let's see here. This is the first studio where I felt equal and treated right. Not only is everyone super talented, but also everyone was respectful and nice. It's a green flag when I can go into the women's bathroom and it's not only filled with feminine hygiene products. Stop being cheap. Buy your own. Been buying my wife hers since we've been together. But also there's women there and it's like, oh, I have to share a bathroom with other women now. Like, whoa, that's odd because you usually get the whole place to yourself. Oh my God. Yeah, mental health doesn't mean what it used to mean. That's really what it is. No worries, Susano. Take your time, dude. Adult daycare. Yeah. Tech girl videos. Exactly. California nonsense. But it's also, it's Washington. It's Seattle nonsense, Daycare for adult children. We were excited locally in the studio, and this is talking about the beta. But the public had no idea what it was at first. I thought people were just harsh during the reveal trailer. I was like, you know what? There's things we need to work on, but it's okay. Once people touch the game, it's going to change things. And then the beta numbers dropped, and the numbers were not what we expected. And I think our mindset started shifting to things could go really bad. It made news for how poorly the beta did. Like, people would go out to news sites to, hear about our game and how negatively it was doing instead of, hearing what the game was about. People heard about our game because of how poorly it did, but people didn't hear about what the game was or even really tried. There was no shortage of news articles and YouTube videos and hate on the internet about how poor the numbers were, so it was pretty apparent. Yes, shout out all of us that covered Concord. Oh, man. No, because the game looked like crap, okay? Here's the thing. At the end of the day, there are people who legitimately say Concord was a great game. And it might have been. Gameplay-wise, it might have been fun. No, but I almost got a job at Starbucks back when I was almost 20 or around 20, 21, I think. I was trying to escape my family's business, which never happened. Now I'm the boss and I'm the only one left. It's like some really terrible reality game show that I won after 20 years. But, and it wasn't worth it. I didn't get $1 million. But no, I applied at Starbucks. I applied at an LA Fitness. I applied at a Target. They all offered me jobs and they all sucked. So. On the reception, the most frustrating part about it to me was people had made up their mind about the game, and I felt like it was based off of, I mean, this is more our fault than theirs, but we did a bad job of communicating what we were trying to do. Yes! Accountability! Thank you. And I felt like there was such a disconnect, like if I could sit down with any individual that said something bad about the game and plead our case, I could convince them 100% to be on board with the game. No. Full stop. Not happening. You could convince somebody that the game was good as far as the gameplay goes, the mechanics of how the weapons work, the recoil, the movement. You could probably convince me. It's all good. And besides, Starbucks coffee is ass. There's so much better coffee than Starbucks anyways. You could probably convince me that there were parts of the gameplay itself that were good. I'm not going to doubt that because I didn't get to play the beta for myself. However, you cannot convince me that I would be 100% on board with the game just from sitting down and talking to one of these freaks. No way. Wouldn't happen. I should have made a consultant group to help wokeify the gaming industry. I've heard it's serious business. Right, exactly. Even on the other side of the world, we know what a Seattle barista means. Yeah, it's not far off. It's just, we did a terrible job of appealing to the mass of gamers, and it didn't go too well. At least there's some accountability here, guys. I'm going to say at least this is somebody trying to be accountable, okay? Well, Mahendra, even going back 10, 15 years, some of them still had good graphics. Good enough, at least. It's just weird that there's this audience who's constantly wanting to be excited that something fails. But the reality behind it is we're just looking at our keyboards and then we're like, oh, no job today. My main question is, how are they going to sell skins in the hero shooter where the characters are ugly? So here's the catch-22. And this is something that I said at the time, and I'll say it again, and I will say it until the day I die. They did the right thing by trying to make a complete game and sell a complete game experience. They made the wrong kind of game, and they made it the wrong way because the characters all looked hideous. If they're trying to make a value for your money, as far as like, we're going to give you a complete game, no DLC, none of this, no battle passes, here's your game, it's $40, everything's included, right? The thing was, they weren't trying to like load it full of a battle pass and microtransactions. They're trying to give people a traditional game experience. I can applaud that. The problem was they offered something nobody wanted. So in a genre where there's plenty of cheaper or free-to-play games where people are obviously more than willing to spend on microtransactions, again, 50% of game revenue in North America comes from microtransactions. Clearly, people are okay with it for some ungodly reason. You can't market your game as it's at least a complete game and it's $40, which is not bad. And look at all the cool stuff you get when the game looks like shit. It looks like shit, you know? There's just no way around it. The hate on Silksong's release price kind of exposes the grift, yeah. Yeah, so far, I mean, I only played it for a couple hours, but so far so good. People are being given millions and they're this dense, it's beyond stupid. Yeah. Games from 10, 15 years ago look better than the current AAA because I have to lower the graphics to minimize the stuttering, their BS new effects. Even Silksong, I was noticing, and it might be because I have it on my hard drive instead of my SSD, but with my graphics card and processor and 64 gigs of RAM, it shouldn't be a problem. I was noticing like a little bit of a catch, like a little bit of a hitch when moving between scenes. I don't know if that's normal for Silksong or if that's something to do with it being on PC or what the deal is. Silksong is available on every platform, even you can play on Android phone, the Windows emulator, and someone is porting to smartphone. Oh, interesting. Okay. There's like a schadenfreude of, oh, big game fails, and like, that's awesome. We got to see something crash and burn, and like, that's kind of great. That's really cool. And no, it's good for revenue. It's good for views. It's good for clicks. People do like to see terrible things fall apart. That's why when Pirate Software made an ass out of himself and people got to know more and more about who he was as a person, people applauded when his destruction came, okay? That's just human nature. Your game looks like crap. Nobody wants to play it. The studio goes under, the game crashes and burns, people applaud the bonfire. That's just the way it works. That's human nature, okay? Mark, it was oversaturated with these type of games, that's why it failed, and that's because of hate for the game. I mean, I don't understand it. They made a horrible looking game. Like I said, even if the gameplay was good, which plenty of people said it was, how are you going to market? People only have one chance to make a good first impression, and your first impression sucked. Might be defaulting to the integrated GPU instead of the dedicated one. My computer doesn't have an integrated GPU. I built my computer. If fangirls cosplay your characters, you know you've done them right. Well, we're going to get into that in a little bit with Hollow Knight. There's some real degenerates out there on the internet. Oh, man. Let me see here. And to be a part of that process, it's really easy to bandwagon on that. Like, well, we're punching up and not really taking into consideration that, like, well, you're punching up at that, but then all of these people that work really hard on it are not those people. So, again, this idea that because you spent time and energy making something bad, people should celebrate it, you get a pat on the back, they should give you your money, it's asinine. There's no legitimate reason why people should be entitled to your money if they make a bad product. On the Aftermath, it says one of the things that a lot of people wonder in the comments section is like, what are they thinking? How do these devs not know how the game is being received? We know full well, we know what's happening, we agree with it half the time, and more often than not, it's changing the game is just not possible given the circumstances, given the stakes, the sunk cost into these things. Now, I'm not going to go use the article because I don't want to even put the words Fandom Pulse into my web browser, but there was actually a quote that John Trent pulled from the interview that had one of these people basically saying, look, I tried to warn them. I said, exactly, you know, this is terrible. And then the fans said it. And I said, yes, exactly that thing. We shouldn't have done that. But apparently he was kind of outnumbered, you know. People hated Concord. There was just that many of us, silent majority included. I think everyone hated it, you know. Well, they got paid anyway, but the studio's done. So at this point now, I refuse to double check and refuse to care about it further. Hey, Vernum, you could be right and I could be wrong. But as I understood it, mine doesn't. But I don't know. You could be right. I spend a lot of time creating a deuce. Does that mean I should get someone to applaud me for the shiz? Dude, if you ever need me to applaud, slide into my DMs, tell me you had a good poo, and I'll send you a little clapping emoji. Okay? I can do that for you. Someone else says it was the most beautiful car that we crashed. No, it wasn't. That car was hideous. That was the ugliest car. That was like a 1980s Honda or some shit. Any gamers and fellow devs who gave it a chance and enjoyed and appreciated it for what it was, we love all the love to you guys. I'm sad that it didn't find its gamer base. It was so special. Yeah, special retarded. I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. From all public accounts, it sounds like Firewalk was an incredible studio to work at, full of highly talented people, but marketing and management completely effed it. Marketing and management. Management caused you to make a game that nobody wanted. I love this. I love this. It's fantastic. Hey, man, I got your back. Another interview before the leaks, someone said something similar. Some critiques were ignored. Right. Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it comes down to, you know. Participation award. Exactly, yeah. Let's see here. This team absolutely did not deserve to be treated the way they were. I really hope people listen to it. One last quote that I loved hearing as it shows how passionate this team was about the game they made. Do you want people to know you worked on it? Travis from the art team. Yeah, and I want them to be surprised when I'm happy about it. That's what I want. We were proud regardless of how it went. We put out a good game. Okay. Well, you know what? You lost the championship game. You got shut out 60-0, but hey, you got a participation trophy. There you go. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter which way they're punching. Now, of course, I don't know if Grums is the one that found this or if somebody else found it and he just swiped it, but it says Concord narrative producer is now community manager at Microsoft Games. Why is it always community management? These people continue to fail upward and sideways. It's the craziest thing. Microsoft Game Dev Community Manager via Simplicity Consulting. I need to look up Simplicity Consulting and see what the hell that is. That could be interesting to look into. We put out a good game. No, you did. I love it. You did not put out a good game. You put out a game that got scrapped after 2 weeks. Like, give me a break. Good for you, bad for the rest. Yeah. Yeah, Dark Souls can be a thing. Although we're going to, like I said, they're comparing freaking Hollow Knight to Dark Souls now, which is crazy. Speaking of, again, of Xbox, apparently, according to a former Xbox VP, they say that Game Pass creates weird inner tensions because a game's popularity can actually damage sales. The majority of game adoption on Game Pass comes at the expense of retail revenue. Now, this is something we're not going to dive into because we've talked about this before on the channel. But it is... What the hell is this game? What the hell is that? What an interesting image to use there, PC Gamer. Holy crap. But of course, this is from Pete Hines, former Vice President of Communications and Marketing at Bethesda, says, if you don't figure out how to balance the needs of the service and the people running the service with the people who are providing the content without which your subscription is worth jack shit, then you have a real problem. You need to properly acknowledge, compensate, and recognize what it takes to create that content and not just make a game, but make a product. That tension is hurting a lot of people, including the content creators themselves, because they're fitting into an ecosystem that is not properly valuing and rewarding what they're making. The funny thing about this, and the only reason I even bring this up, okay, we've had this conversation, is Game Pass worth it? Is Game Pass good? Is Game Pass bad? Is Game Pass evil? Is it hurting the gaming industry? Is it helping it? Is it worth the money? Microsoft's evil. We all know Microsoft's evil. Of course they're evil. But at the end of the day, there's this argument about whether or not Game Pass hurts game sales. And then came Expedition 33. Which sold phenomenally well and also launched on Game Pass. Now we've got Hollow Knight Silksong, right? We have got several examples now of games that launched on Game Pass and are kicking ass as far as player numbers on Steam that people actually purchased. Now, the other contributing factor, these games were not $60 and $70 games. Clearly. I mean, I think when it first came out, you could pick up Expedition 33 for $40 instead of $50, I'm pretty sure. So again, it was not a full price game. It's extremely comparable to Dark Souls. Really though? I don't know. It's a Metroidvania. Now we're going to start calling Metroidvania Souls-likes. Like, doesn't that seem a bit retarded? Like, a little too many, like, oh, it's like this, but it's like that, but it's like this, but it's like if these 5 things all had a baby together, now it's like a polygamist couple, right? I can't even. Plots are quite similar. I'm talking gameplay. I'm talking straight up the gameplay, right? Then, of course, we saw a conversation about how indie devs were fearing that Hollow Knight Silksong is going to set unrealistic pricing standards for the industry. I love this. All this because it's a $20 game that you get your money's worth, and all these other indie devs are freaking out about it. It's like, I will never understand this kind of mentality. It is the craziest thing, absolute craziest thing. It started with this guy, Lone Fungus. We talked about him on Friday, about how he's comparing his game, a Metroidvania, to Silksong, saying, well, if my game has less gameplay time, but it's only made by one person, I can't give it away for free, so what should I price it at? It's like, price it for whatever you think is fair. It's not hard. Just because a competitor sells a similar product to mine at an event or online or whatever, am I going to say, well, they're selling the same product, now I can't sell that because they're selling a bunch of stuff too? I heard this before, Baldur's Gate 3, yeah. Lucia, I would agree with you, except playing it for myself for a couple hours, the gameplay is really fun. The gameplay is really fun. Bonfire Bench, Lost Souls, I can see it. I mean, as far as those elements to it, sure. But when people say Souls-like, I think a lot of it more on the side of gameplay, combat, parrying, rolling, dodge, time dodge and stuff. If we're talking all the elements of the game, then possibly. You could possibly say that some of the elements are the same. But there's plenty of games that have save points. Like, guys, this is kind of like going back to the conversation about the aiming community, the movement community. Does everything have to have a community or a type or a genre or a subgenre or a sub-subgenre or something else that's similar to because it's borrowed elements from something else? At some point, we have to be able to say it's a video game. It's a game. It's entertainment. It's fun. It's hard. It's difficult. It's whatever. I mean, always having to compare everything to everything else is kind of getting annoying. Not even going to lie. It's like, it's giving me a headache. because every video game, to some degree, is going to have a save feature. Every first-person shooter is going to use guns. Not every first-person shooter is the same, you know? Thinks KCD is more like Dark Souls than Hollow Knight. No, I think neither one's like Dark Souls. I think neither one is Dark Souls. I think KCD is more like Elder Scrolls. Don't put words in my mouth, okay? I think that there are definitely like actual genres that exist, and you can have subgenres. But trying to compare everything to Dark Souls really gets old. Each element of a game does have to be put in a box to describe it. Sure, you have to be able to describe it to a degree. But what doesn't make sense to me is that there are so many games that use similar mechanics that it's like you can't say that one mechanic only belongs to one game. Conflating genre instead of qualifying or fitting them is what lowers quality. If you don't say community, you can't marginalize people. Well, that's the thing. Everybody in the so-called aim and movement community was also on the side of the guy being trans. So, Pong is a Souls-like. Oh my god. Hey, Quillpig, you don't have to watch, buddy. In fact, I'll invite you not to watch the next stream. So it says here, as a dev making a smaller Metroidvania, oh, we talked about Lone Fungus. And this is now delineated into a bunch of other devs complaining about it too. Like, there's legit screenshot after screenshot of people complaining about Silksong selling for $20. Is the craziest thing. But here's another one. Here's an actual normal indie dev. Says, we were scared as hell when Silksong was announced to release on our day, indie dev says. But now it seems it was a blessing in disguise. Jet Runner benefited from the Hollow Knight Black Hole. Actually, an indie dev saying, hey, it's a blessing in disguise. It's crazy, right? Beaten every NES, Sega Genesis I've seen in my childhood. I mean, there were a lot of games back in the day that I tried to save and actually finish on my old Sega Saturn. The damn thing wouldn't save. It was the craziest thing. Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance? What the hell is that? GTA 5 has races, therefore is like... GT7. Oh, man. I have every Souls game, even that Italian one. Italian Souls game? What is the Italian Souls game? That is not anything I've ever heard. Discussion is like the Dark Souls discussions. All right. All right. Matching up the genres could also be a marketing gimmick. You like Metroidvania games? Check this out. You like Souls games? No, see, I understand from a marketing perspective, it's smart to try to hook a game into a genre that it already exists in. That's fine. From a marketing perspective, I mean, look, why is it that a movie, and especially nowadays, it's super especially true nowadays. Most movies nowadays, when they put out a trailer, you're going to see the best parts of the movie in the trailer. Because they are trying to draw you in and suck you in and get you to go to the theater. And a lot of times you'll go to the movie and be like, I could have just watched the trailer. Because the best parts of the movie were in the first minute and a half trailer, right? Oh, Lies of P. Oh no, Inotre, the last song. Well, wouldn't Lies of P also be Italian? Inotria. That's a name I haven't heard for a while. They're not complaining about the game size? Minimum souls. What the hell are we talking about? Oh my god. Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance think the audiobooks on YouTube. Good philosophy and a plot like number 23 was good. I really liked number 23. That was a good movie. Okay. The announcement of Hollow Knight Silksong's release date just 2 weeks ago sent other indie games absolutely running, but one dev that stuck to its guns and released its shooter on the very same day was handsomely rewarded. Dev is Ribblebit Software, which just launched a gorgeous cel-shaded parkour-fueled FPS called Jet Runner that describes itself as Trackmania meets Titanfall. Well, at least they didn't call themselves Souls-like, right? Jet Runner obviously looks and sounds cool as hell, though that's not enough to grab everyone's attention, which is why developer Oliver Magnus explained that the team was scared as hell in a recent Reddit post. We were scared as hell when Silksong was announced to release on our day. Now it seems as a blessing in disguise. From the stats we've read, 70% of all indie games slated to release this week were delayed. Thanks to it, the popular upcoming section and the now new and trending tab became free real estate. Oh, okay, so see, it wasn't a bad thing for all indie devs. Oh my god, Avernum. Lies of P's Korean Pinocchio theme and Notary is the Italian one, Italian devs. Okay, but wasn't that an Italian story? Yeah, not every game needs 100 gigabyte storage. Facts. Play the trailer? All right, let's take a look. Make sure it's unmuted. Guess I don't need to hide myself. It's a big enough screen.
And I will be your host for the next couple of days here at the America's Open. I can't wait. Holy moly. What is going on with contestant 242? What's her name? Nina White? It's been years since we've seen a newcomer tear up a track like this. Where's she
I like the
hiding?
wall running. Kind of reminds me of Ghost Runner.
Incredible! The way she bobs and weaves to dodge the oncoming hail of fire, she's just way better than any newcomer has any right being.
I feel like I could take on the world.
We're nearing the end of an unforgettable event, ladies and gentlemen. There's no question about
I'm trying to watch the trailer. You guys are cracking me up with the comments. All right, so I will say, looks good, not for me. I guess I'm just too violent. All that wall running and shooting to not actually kill anything. Yeah, I couldn't do that. No way. The insistence on 100 plus gigabyte full or file sizes is the regarded way to curb piracy. Yeah. Ghost Runner with a different skin, but Ghost Runner was gritty and dark, and that whole cyberpunk, vibe and everything else. Ghost Runner was cool as hell. Reminds me, I picked up Ghost Runner 2 on a sale on Steam. I got the complete edition, like gold edition. Have never played it, and then I got the damn thing for free on Epic. So now I have like 2 copies of Ghost Runner 1 and 2 between Epic and Steam. It's the craziest thing. Yeah, the narrator is kind of annoying. Since you're going to be talking about Borderlands 4, is that an FPS Souls-like extract with RPG elements? My god. Borderlands 4 is going to claim to be a Borderlands 2-like. See, you guys are just killing me here. Oh, Mirror's Edge. That's a cool-looking game I never got around to playing. So here's the real conversation, though. We've had the conversation about the impact of the price, the indie devs who were freaking out. Didn't get around to making any videos on that because I suck at life, apparently. The wall running is Titanfall-like. Okay, are we going to claim that Titanfall created wall running in first-person shooter games? Because I don't remember another game where that was a thing. I mean, now everything needs to be Titanfall-like, you know? Lollipop Titanfall? Yeah. Yeah, narrators in general kind of suck. Not a big fan of most of them. Difficulty is already dominating the Hollow Knight Silksong conversation, which is really funny because the tweet that I have brought up here is apparently there's a cheat code to unlock the hardest difficulty. Apparently, if you enter up, down, left, right, which is so a like 1990s gaming thing to do, in the extras menu, you can unlock Steel Soul mode, where no revives and death is permanent. So I'm not touching that. Not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Not happening. Repack will reduce 80% size from the game. Oh, I'm sure. Prince of Persia did wall running. But it wasn't a first-person shooter. It was not a first-person shooter. All right, so it says mask damage, runbacks, and delayed upgrades have fan debating the sequel's difficulty. Fans have been waiting almost a decade to go hands-on with Hollow Knight Silksong, and the hype was off the charts. Now that people are finally playing, those expectations have been brought back down to earth. Silksong is a good game, maybe even a great one, but is also a hard one, harder than the first game. That depends on who you ask. Okay, here's the thing. I've had my struggles here and there in the game. Come to a couple bosses, figure out how to beat them, and then you beat them. You move on with your life. It's not even like it's the most difficult game I've ever played. By far, not even close. Like, Expedition 33 had bosses that were far more difficult to figure out how to beat than Hollow Knight 2. It's just not even comparable. So while I can understand that some people might struggle with difficulty in this game, it doesn't. I don't even understand why we're having a conversation about this particular game's difficulty. Now, I haven't gotten to the later bosses yet, and I've heard that there's some bosses that are pretty, brutal or whatever. Prefer people use like genre descriptions, often too loose for your taste, or we just call every single game an action adventure and no genres. Action adventure. I'd be fine with that. I'm not even kidding. First-person shooter, action adventure, RPG. That's all I need to know if I'm going to play the game or not. For me, it's pretty easy. And then if you really want, you can have Souls-like. But calling everything Souls-like gets to be where nothing is Souls-like. Look, this happened over the course of the discourse last year, where everything became woke and therefore the term started to lose meaning. If everything is based, nothing is based. If everything is a Souls-like, nothing is a Souls-like. Eventually, you delineate the term to the point where it no longer has any meaning anymore, is the problem. To me, playing this game, it did not make me think Dark Souls at all. Okay, so you've got the rest benches where you can save your progress. Oh, if you die, you lose your stuff and you have to go back and collect it. That's it. That's where for me, that's where the genre stops. Like the comparison stops, you know? Oh, and then of course you've got like real-time strategy or turn-based combat, those kind of genre definitions also. So what's happening to some RPGs, some games are called RPGs when they have just minor elements like gear and they have nothing of RPG. Actually, I saw an article about one of those games. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Lost Soul Aside. Part of the conversation around it is that the RPG elements of the game are not very good, I guess. I don't know. Souls-like equals woke. No, but it is really funny how many of the weirdos cling on to Souls-like games. It's crazy. It's like, well, this game has got a lot of people too, and we'll see that in a minute. Eventually you're going to hit a wall with certain areas and bosses. Yeah. Elden Ring, though, I mean, at least was connected to the Dark Souls type universe because of the developer, though. Can't use action adventure because most games aren't really aren't really even like the game adventure, which the genre takes its name from. Adventure is a word. It has a meaning. You can go on an adventure. You know, it doesn't have to be connected to the original game adventure. Souls isn't even the first fighting game to reclaim your stuff when you die. Okay, yeah. So by definition, you know, because on Valheim, it's, you know, a survival game, an open world survival game. But when you die, you lose all your stuff and it stays behind and you have to go back and collect it. Does that make it a Souls-like? The only difference is your stuff doesn't disappear after the first time trying to retrieve it. Then you have 2 death piles, although actually it might. I think I've had stuff despawn on Valheim after the first couple times trying to retrieve it. I don't know. The fighting game now interesting. We should have gatekept Souls-like. Look, I'm not even like that person that's like, oh no, Dark Souls must remain pure and nothing else can be compared to it. I used to call frickin' Mortal Shell Dark Souls for dummies, you know? Because it is. Mortal Shell was like, if Dark Souls was too hard for you, but you still wanted some decent combat and a lot of cool, you know, elements and the aesthetics of the game and stuff, Mortal Shell is fantastic. Because you do have that moment where you can do the shell move where you can harden yourself and nothing hurts you for a split second. There are elements of that game that make it slightly less painful than playing a Dark Souls game, you know? Kind of like having the summons and stuff in Elden Ring. Kind of helps lessen the intensity. After a while, it loses its luster, yeah. All right, so it says, fans have been waiting almost a decade to go hands-on. Now that people are finally playing, those expectations have been brought back to earth. The game's harder than the first one, blah, 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 blah. And here you go. This is for you, Quillpig. While players rave about their favorite new characters, secrets, and boss fights, others are bouncing off the game, feeling unwelcomed by the new Metroidvania Souls-like. Here's my problem. In this article, the only reason they're calling it Souls-like is because it's hard, because it's difficult. Yeah, harden yourself. Dude, I'm going to harden myself when that game comes out. I'm looking forward to Mortal Shell 2. I'm not even going to lie. That game's going to hopefully kick ass. One of the biggest differences between Silksong and the original Hollow Knight is that enemies hit harder earlier in the game. Instead of taking 1 mask of damage off Hornet, even some rank and file minions can knock 2 off with each hit. Add to that the fact that Hornet can't heal until a full wheel of Silk has been earned and you have a recipe for an uncompromising early game. Maps and UI elements must also be purchased as upgrades. That's not that difficult. I've already started doing that. Leaving newcomers who tend to easily get lost in 2D mazes scrambling more than usual to figure out. I haven't found the maps that hard to figure out. Honestly, I haven't. Because it's hard? Yeah, basically. They're not using the term because it's hard? Okay. Let me see here. Leaving newcomers who tend to easily get lost, more than usual, to figure out where to go and what to do. Quote here from somebody that says, my wife is a massive Hollow Knight fan, has been waiting for Silksong to come out for years, reads one of the biggest threads on the Silksong subreddit from this weekend. She's not the most skilled of players, but she was able to complete Hollow Knight and enjoy her time. Silksong instead is breaking her apart. She has spent 3 days fighting Morrowind without beating it, and she's dropping the game for good. Well, then she's a bad gamer. I'm sorry. I hope she'll pick it back up sometime, but it's sad to see all the anticipation die like this. If you give up on a boss because it's too hard, you're a bad gamer. I don't know what to tell you. They're using it for SEO purposes? Possibly. Possibly. Get good wifey. Or you know what wifey should do? She should turn to her husband and say, hey, beat this for me. Go figure. I mean, that's what, if my wife played video games, that's what she would do. Although she'd probably do that for 90% of the bosses. Girls are always bad at gaming? No, my daughter's not. My daughter will be a phenomenal gamer the older she gets. She's already good at them, and she's only getting better. But again, she's not one of these prissy, whiny, girls that has to be babied. She's my princess. I love her. She's perfectly girly. But she also plays, like I said, she plays softball. She's got a broken finger from her game a couple days ago. She still stayed in and pitched until she took a massive shot from this girl who outweighed her by 100 pounds. And she stayed in until she couldn't take it anymore. So it's like, not every girl is going to be bad at games or be whiny or complain about things being difficult. Unfortunately, the majority of the ones currently in existence they seem to be. It just seems to be a pattern that we've seen time and time again. Ninja Gaiden's a Souls-like. When all you know is shit, what else do you compare it to? Asking wifey to use logic and account. Yeah, I know. Morwing has been brutalizing many players in the Greymoor section of the game. The Flying Moth has lots of attacks. And look, I'm sure that the boss is difficult for a lot of people. There's no way that I'm going to say, oh, this boss is going to be easy, beat it on the first try. No, I had to figure out the Bell Beast. Was it the hardest boss out there? No, but it took me a couple tries to figure out all the different movements and stuff and what to look for and all that. But once I got the patterns down, I got him beat. Then I went on with the rest of the game. Don't notice patterns. Patterns are bad. Pattern recognition is bad. It is banned on YouTube. No pattern recognition at all, guys. Reminds me of that one couple where the wife liked to play Stardew Valley, but she didn't like the battle part, so she asked her husband. There's nothing wrong with that either. Literally nothing wrong with that. If that works for you, God bless you. More power to you. Modded out the combat, got boring and a waste of time after a while. I mean, yeah. For some games, if the combat isn't good enough, then there's no point in having it in the first place. But if, that's how they rolled, that's how they rolled. Let's see. There's ways to accidentally skip the fight altogether, but if you're just grinding Silksong out without searching, it's a pain in the ass, one of those fights for true Souls-like sickos. Again, there's that term again. And not necessarily for people who come to Hollow Knight for the world building, exploration, and wonderful characters. Is Silksong really harder than Hollow Knight? There's a good comment on the Silksong Steam discussion page that breaks down some of what people might be going through with the initial reaction to the sequel. People are complaining because this game doesn't give them nail upgrades and an early charm system with charms that trivialize a lot of boss mechanics for 3/4 of the entire game, and instead attempts to get its players to recognize tells, cues, patterns, positioning, and program its enemies to specifically punish over-aggressively or greedy play, it reads. Instead of treating Hollow Knight like a tutorial for Silksong, this argument claims some players are treating the new game like a continuation of the old instead of recognizing the clear yet subtle differences, including a diagonal downward attack that complicates combat and platforming, especially for people used to the first game's more straightforward up and down pogoing on top of enemies. Though there are crests players can find in Silksong even early on to help make the game easier, it seems clear Team Cherry also made a point of not greasing the wheels with combat as much as it did with Hollow Knight, which again, wouldn't you prefer that they don't make the game as simple as the first one around? Like, isn't that a good thing that they're expanding on the combat, that they're making it more innovative and you have to get more creative with it? Losing brain cells reading a Kotaku article. Man, I feel you. Don't keep these bitches hard enough. Yeah. Yeah, it gives more options. Yeah, the whole point about getting better at a game is when the enemies get tougher, they give you more options to combat them with. Now, a bad game, and some could argue there are bosses out there, I've seen some from like, a couple from Elden Ring, maybe a couple from Dark Souls, where they're literally, you walk through and you are being attacked the instant that they are on the screen. And I would argue that that's bad gameplay design. But again, you learn to overcome. You expect that the minute you walk through that gate, they're going to be attacking you, so you just get ready for it. But yeah, there are definitely moments where it's like, obviously there are games that are just poorly designed that don't give you enough to overcome the obstacle. Silksong is like Dark Souls 3, your first boss is already hard. Yeah, but I would argue that just like the first boss in Silksong, that the first boss in Dark Souls 3, once you figure it out, he is by far the easiest boss in the game. Hollow Knight was an entry game into Metroidvanias and medium difficulty games. Let Hollow Knight be Hollow Knight and yeah, I think that that's a fair take. There's no reason that Silksong can't be more difficult, that it can't be a step up That it's not going to be, you know, where you have to rise to the occasion a little bit harder, a little bit harder. I don't know. Let's see. 30-second clip of a player going back to Act 1 boss after dying. A trek which includes more than one non-trivial platforming section. Whether players ultimately enjoy it or not, double damage many enemies do compared to Hollow Knight is already the biggest meme coming out of Silksong's launch. See, I didn't play the first game, so I didn't notice. I just figured this is just the way the game is. And when you don't know any different, you just play the game. You know? You just do the thing. Combat and Stardew just made me want to... Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. First area in Bloodborne was hell for me since it was my first Souls-like experience. And see, for me, Dark Souls 3 was my first Souls-like experience. So I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, just walking through the graveyard and getting to the first boss in Dark Souls 3, it was an eye-opener. And I had no idea what I was getting into. You know, it was a used copy of Dark Souls 3 I got off the shelf at GameStop that I was recommended. I asked these guys a couple different games I had in my hands. I'm like, well, what about this game? What about that game? And they recommended Dark Souls 3, and I played it, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's rough. But I got through it, you know? Just making easy mode. Yeah. That's another thing, too. That's one of those things that I hate. And I get it. I don't want to throw shade at anybody who plays on easy mode. I don't. I refuse to. I like to play on the normal game difficulty. Whatever the normal default difficulty is, that's the one I choose first. And yeah, sure, I've gone through all the Halo games on Legendary, and I've gone in the past and done other games on Nightmare Mode and Legendary and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, I like to play the game the way it's intended, which is, again, whatever the traditional regular difficulty is. That's why I will never lower the difficulty. I don't care. I don't care how much I'm struggling with the game, a boss, whatever. I'm not going to lower the difficulty. I refuse to. So when I see people playing through a game on YouTube or on Twitch, and they're just playing the lowest difficulty by default, in my mind, I look at that and go, what's the point? Now, to each their own. To each their own. If somebody knows they're not a good gamer, but they still want to experience the game, and easy mode's an option that the developer made for the game, fine. You know, I don't think you're going to get the enjoyment out of playing that game on easy that you would from playing it on the traditional default difficulty, but if that's how you have to play the game, then I guess more power to you. But for me, it's just not an option. I don't think Dark Souls and Hollow Knight don't have story, narrative, or cutscenes. Hollow Knight Silksong has cutscenes-ish. Yeah, they do. Which is why Asmund is not great at either games or politics while being better than normies. What a truth say. That's why gamers are masters of pattern recognition thanks to difficult bosses. Right, exactly. So it's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Nothing more infuriating than when you die to a boss and the game asks, would you like to lower the difficulty? I think I've only seen that like once or twice in a game. I don't play many games that have that as an option. They both have cutscenes. Yeah, I didn't play the first game, so I don't know about cutscenes, the first one. They're using easy mode if they're better at entertaining the chat. See, Squallshade, that's the thing. That's a fair take to have if you're more interested in entertaining your chat and being able to communicate than you are in actually playing the game. But for me, the one time I play a game on stream is odds are, if it's a game I've never played before, that's the one time I'm going to have a chance to actually play that game. So for me personally, even for the sake of being able to divert my attention, I refuse. I'm not going to rob myself of the enjoyment of a game by lowering the difficulty. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not. So, that being said, another thing that came out of this demented weird weekend was that Hornet, the character in Silksong, is apparently transcoded. Why? Because somebody with a gay furry Shadow the Hedgehog avatar who's gender fluid, demisexual, a polyam witch, vegan activist, BLM, AKA Beat the Rich, neurodivergent, arts major, of course you are, professional protester, and fur baby. I have to believe this is a parody account. I have to want to believe this is a parody account. Because of this, they said Hornet is so transcoded. And you got Hornet here with the other two little bug people saying down with cis. CIS, cis. I don't understand. I don't get why, but it's apparently a thing. Yeah, they always do this every time. And they always find, here's the thing. They pick the weirdest games and the weirdest creatures. It's like, oh, look, the weird... Okay, they did this with Helldivers 2. If I recall, The trans gay people wanted to say like Helldivers 2 was them, like they identified with the bug people, right? Because the bug people were like Palestinians or something. I don't know. Some crazy retarded shit that was going on, right? Like they wanted to compare themselves or the Palestinians to like the bug people or some crazy shit. And it's always like, why do we have to continue comparing humans to aliens, to bugs, to insects? Like, why can't you just enjoy the game? But no, they can't. They can't enjoy things. So in response to another person who obviously has a he, they, NSFW, DNI, and again, these people are ones you just don't want to interact with on Twitter. They said, pointing out that Hornet had mates once, as in wasn't, asexual. It says, to pair with another is a base instinct and one that brings some bugs great joy. I once thought similar in union, but of my own mates, none could match my lifespan. And so this person says, refers to them as mates, doesn't say gender. Silksong, bisexual. So apparently now it's trans and bisexual coded. And of course, when people like Tectone pointed out, you've got Anna Valens. We all know Anna Valens, the guy LARPing as a woman that wrote all those disgusting things, then went into hiding, says, see something sweet and kind about LGBT people. I can't handle this, in all caps. Another person saying, so glad to see that these people will never be happy. Now, I don't know if this Midas person is talking about Tectone or talking about the trans dude who has to see himself as a bug. But apparently that's a thing. I think easy mode only applies for story mode games, like you want to pay attention on story. Well, but games that are story heavy are already going to be easy, aren't they? Like, by definition, the games that are going to be a narrative-driven game that has very little combat. Sweet and kind, down with assist. Right. I don't try to make sense out of it. These people are demented. I believe they're the progenitors, but when you describe that plate as modern gamers, that sadly is what you call them. We talking about neither are Metroidvanias. Oh, you guys are talking about styles of genres, of course. All right. Yeah, people like this are the reason we gatekeep. The problem is people like this are all like the young gamer generation. It's all the Gen Zers. It's all the 17 to 23 gender confused, gender fluid, non-binary, pansexual, bug furry people. What's up, mate? Did I refer to you as my sexual partner or friend? Yeah, exactly. Some games hide story beats behind hard play. Well, when we're talking about the story games, I'm thinking about the games like Life is Strange. I'm thinking about games like, of course, frickin' Bloom and Rage or Dustborn. Games that have been featured a lot more where people showcase the cringe writing and the really bad narrative design and stuff. And they don't tend to attract hardcore gamers. They're for people, or like we talked about with frickin', South of Midnight, where you could literally disable all the boss mode fights. So all you had to do was just play the story and that was it. NES game Wizards and Warriors. I remember it. I never owned it, but I remember it. So the other part that's getting really weird, and I'm gonna blame the furry people on this one as well. This person, Johan, says, this is the most sexualized woman in gaming right now, talking about Hornet. I don't know if I can show you guys all the art that exists on Twitter right now involving this little bug character. Like, I think some of it we might be able to look at, but people are getting... Okay, this one should be okay. People are getting really weird with this, all right? They're, like, making her thick and giving her, like, curves and stuff. And this is a bug, okay? It only gets worse from here. I think this next one is okay, if I'm not mistaken. Well, yeah, but I'm just not going to scroll down to show her gigantic badonkadonk. All right. She takes her cloak off and someone made a mod where she's thick with it off. Yeah. Usually use two genres for games, shit or good. They usually fall into those two categories. Yeah, see, I don't care what... Here's the thing. I've never been the kind of person who's like, I hate turn-based games, so I won't play anything if it's called a turn-based game. If it's a good turn-based game, it's a good turn-based game, When people like a character, they really like the character. Well, we saw some of this the last time I was talking about this on Friday, but it's only gotten, like, weird. Really, really freaking weird. No, I'm showing you the tame stuff because I can't show you the other stuff I found. Like, we're talking hardcore P in the V, bugs, just disgusting stuff. I cannot... Let me see. I think this other one's okay. I think I can. I don't know. That might be a bit much for YouTube. All personal preference. Yeah, nothing wrong with sexualizing it. I mean, the only thing that I find weird with sexualizing it, Squall, is it's a bug. It's a bug. That's my only issue with it. We're not talking about a human, okay? Like, I'm not even going to get into the conversation, the argument about, you know, anime and age, and do cartoons have age, and can they consent, and all that retarded stuff that's been an argument for. I don't want to go there. I'm like, I just can't imagine looking at this tiny little bug character that I've been playing on this game and thinking, oh yeah, I want to tap that. Other stuff I found was a blue. There was some blue. There was some glowing blue stuff. There's some stuff. Rule 34, exactly. Rule 34 exists. Yep. Smash that bug. So yeah, it was pretty eye-opening. I was looking for the one image that I found that I had on stream last Friday because I wanted to use it for my thumbnail. Somebody had made her, but like just curves, but it was more like this one where there's not as much like definition. It's just curves, right? Nothing explicit. And I'm looking through like this filth on Twitter. I'm like, oh my God, I can't show that, can't show that, can't show that, can't show that. Better make sure my kids don't see that. Like, holy crap. Buggers, yeah. Yeah, more buggers than furries. All right. So now let's get to Borderlands 4 and we can wrap this stream up. All right. Apparently the optimization is bad. And there's a YouTube video that I'm probably not going to take the time to watch. It's only about 8 minutes, but we can just kind of skim through it. Stick figure, that's all it takes. Yeah. A lot of guys would probably rather F the bug than any woman. That's sad. That is really sad. The novel Morning Glory Milking Farm. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, dude, I don't even want to think about that, man. Oh my God. More into barnyard animals than other people would expect. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. All right, let's move. Let's move on from the bug people. This is why restricted mode exists on YouTube. Okay, it's all this crap, guys. That's why restricted mode's a thing now. So it says Borderlands 4 performance, the optimization is poor at 549 on the video. So we can go to 549 on the video. With RTX 4080 and frame generation on, it achieves 60 to 70 frames per second. Without frame generation, it drops to 30 frames per second. Game also stutters and freezes per a YouTuber with early access. All right, 549. Let's look at that. All right, performance. This is from Eric's Gaming. 1.47 million subscribers. That's a big ass channel. All right, good for him. All right, full screen. Here we go.
Now let's take a turn and talk about performance because it
I watched this guy talk about Marathon or something.
It's a bit ropey at the moment. On our RTX 4080.
Hey, Cool Cat, you're here right in time. We're going to talk about the performance issues of Borderlands 4 as well as Randy Pitchford being completely out of touch.
The rigs and i7 CPUs, frame rates were solid enough, around 60 to 70 in cluttered combat moments and boss fights with frame gen on. Without it, it dips down to 30 to 40, but honestly it's completely playable, and since with frame gen you have over 60 pretty much all of the time, it feels great. The bigger issue though is stuttering. Moving through areas quickly often causes hitches and brief freezes, which really breaks up the flow of things. Supposedly this is going to be fixed in a day one patch, and to be fair, the stability itself is excellent. Neither of us have had a single crash so far, but still the stuttering is something that really needs addressing.
Randy Pitchford knows a magic trick. Yeah, and he knows a couple magic tricks. Second looks exactly the same as the other four before. Stutters like hell, triple the size, half the performance, and a $80. No, remember it's $70. $70. Although Randy Pitchford thinks it's worth $80. He thinks it's worth $300, if you recall. He said 5 times the price. Easily worth 5 times the price. Also said the game's going to sell 100 million copies. Wouldn't surprise him.
Another co-op issue we ran into is that if you're not the party leader, sometimes your bullets just don't connect to enemies. In the middle of a fight, that can be incredibly frustrating, so hopefully it's something that Gearbox is aware of and working on. On the other side of things, I play on mouse and keyboard, while 2.6 plays on controller. And I want to point out that the default sensitivity on the mouse was weirdly high. I had to lower it by a whole 20% across the board to make...
I don't think that's that big. If we're being honest, I play on mouse and keyboard. I don't think it being too high on default's that big of a deal. You can always turn down the sensitivity. That's whatever.
It feel normal, and that's unusual for me because I basically never adjust my sensitivity settings in any game, and my mouse is always set to my specific DPI. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just worth flagging if mouse and keyboard players feel it's a bit off. Now, overall, Borderlands 4 is shaping up to be the most fun I've had.
All right, so that was the performance conversation there. But this guy seems positive on it, although he did get early access to the game, so you always have to be wary of that. That's always a concern. All right, so it says Borderlands 4 boss, and this is from Games Radar Plus. Randy Pitchford wants everyone to have realistic expectations for performance ahead of the launch. Says it's a big open AAA game, and lower end and older hardware may not perform as well. And this was from a tweet that he had put out. In response to somebody saying, I've been playing Borderlands 4 since last week. It's absolutely awesome, but it's also in desperate need of a day one optimization patch on PC. This person said, again, Scott Dewey said that he has had crashing, hitching, stuttering, and freezing galore. All right, so clearly performance issues, right? Randy Pitchford responded and said, for whom is wondering, I may be conflating recommended specs with required specs. 2K Q&A collaborating with our engineering team at Gearbox sets the standard, and 2K QA reports indicate that they are able to achieve 60 frames per second average with minimum spec PCs, and I think that's decent, to be honest, on typically medium settings. Different PC configurations will vary. HDD versus SDD is also a factor for hitching. That's something I experienced with Starfield. The game was unplayable on HDD. And yes, Day 1 patch has some key improvements and optimizations. I just want everyone to have realistic expectations for performance. This is a big, open, and here it is, AAA game, and lower end and older hardware may not perform as well as higher end. I don't know why it wouldn't. The game looks like, if I'm being honest, if I'm being biased, the game looks like garbage. Just the art style alone, but it's a style that you would think you could optimize really well. Like, if we're being honest, again, that cartoony kind of gimmicky, Wind Waker kind of look, I would imagine it would be easier to optimize. But this is coming from my 2 cents, my uneducated opinion here. Let's see here. I've asked for some assets to be generated to show a range of specifications and how they perform with different settings to help users decide. We're confident in the game's performance and optimization, especially given what the software is doing under the hood. So that's his take on the software performance, right? So Legacy Killer says Randy Pitchford of Gearbox is already doing damage control over Borderlands 4 performance, and how if you have a lower end rig, the game should not be expected to run. You know how Epic Games' Tim Sweeney recently said that UE5 devs need to optimize for lower end first. And here's the quote from Tim Sweeney, right? Legacy Killer says Unreal Engine 5 gets a lot of shit, some of it rightfully, but Sweeney just days ago called out developers not caring about optimization, especially low end, until late into development. Move out of the way. And this certainly seems like yet another example of what he's talking about. And it says, Tim Sweeney has stepped in to address criticism directly via This Is Game, later translated by Colossum Gamer. He explained that many developers build with high-end hardware in mind first, leaving optimization for lower-spec machines until the end of production. Tim Sweeney said the main cause is the order of development. Many studios build for top-tier hardware first and leave optimization and low-spec testing for the end. Ideally, optimization should begin early, before full content build-out. We're doing two things: strengthening engine support with more automated optimization across devices, and expanding developer education so optimize early becomes standard practice. If needed, our engineers can step in. That's not what they're doing, though. Again, Unreal Engine can say, hey, we're going to try to make sure people are going to optimize for the lower-end PCs, but the developers of these studios are not doing that. They're going to be optimizing the game for, like, the high-end rigs. Okay, that's just the way it works. You don't have phones, buy new phones. Yeah, exactly. Legendary Drop says, I appreciate the transparency and trying to set the right expectations. With that said, I can't be the only one who finds it entirely unacceptable for AAA games at full price to release unfinished with day one patches and continued optimization. We are customers, not Q&A. The only problem is the way that customers are treated nowadays is entirely Q&A. That's just reality. He says, while I understand there's a lot of hardware variation on PC, some things will simply slip through. Let's not pretend like nearly every AAA game doesn't release with major performance issues on all platforms that come at the cost of the customer's time and money. Also, I'm not listening to shit about massive open worlds when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 dropped a game that could run on a toaster. Now, I'm gonna parrot what Legendary Drop says about that, because before anybody talks shit about, like, you know, lower end PCs and just get a better PC, you know, you shouldn't be using a graphics card that's 5 years old. I had no trouble, zero, playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on my PC before I upgraded my GPU. I'm talking, my computer had no business running that game, and it ran beautifully. No stuttering, no crashes, no freezing, nothing. Sure, it didn't look as pretty as it would on a high-end PC, but the game ran beautifully. So either it's a problem with Unreal Engine or it's a problem with these developers who are choosing how to optimize the game, or how to not optimize the game, I should say. So again, this is the same guy that wanted to tell people, stop being broke, buy my game if you're a real fan. My game's worth $300 easily. I'm going to sell 100 million copies. And it's not going to be anything beyond what they've already seen. Like, this is nothing new for the series. So, has anyone looked into whether some games get kickbacks to require new hardware? Quillpig, that would be a fantastic deep dive to do. That would require, like, insider knowledge, though. That would be interesting. But that is a great question. I don't know. Something I need to remember, if the game is better optimized for a lower end PC, that just increases their pool of clients. You would think that, right? You would think that that'd be the obvious answer, but maybe it's a difficulty thing. Maybe they don't want to put in the work. Maybe they don't know how. I don't know. Unreal Engine 5 does seem to have a lot of issues. Dude, oh my God, when I tried playing Hellblade 2 on my PC, that thing, if any of you guys were here for the stream like a couple of years ago when it came out, or a year and a half ago, whenever that game came out, that thing ran like hot garbage. Like, I have never seen a game run so poorly on my PC as Hellblade 2 did. That thing was complete and utter garbage. It's filled to the brim with useless tech that isn't easy to disable, and a lot of devs don't want to disable because of future-proofing. Oh, well, that could be it. That could be the very reason why. But hey, at least we got his thoughts on Stop Killing Games. I saw this tweet and I had to share this. Randy Pitchford shares his thoughts on the Stop Killing Games campaign. Gets very existential. It's so sobering, and this is Randy Pitchford. It's so sobering to think about the fact that everything will end. Not just us, but literally everything. And I kind of hate that. This man wants to put that on a t-shirt. You just know it. I swear to God. Oh. Yeah, I saw something about Symbiote. I think Borderlands 4 is also going to have Symbiote running as well. Denuvo. Yeah, Denuvo. Few games are being sold alongside graphics cards, so it could be some sort of extra deals. Yeah, I mean, that happens too. What happened to Randy's head? I mean, is this a new photo or an old photo? Is the long hair a new thing, or is that an old thing? Elden Ring on Switch 2 will run at 30 frames with some dips. I'll still pick it up. It doesn't seem to bother me nearly as much as many others. I don't know. I saw the gameplay of Elden Ring on Switch 2. It didn't look good, man. Like, if I'm being honest. It's kind of like when they first ported Apex Legends over to the Switch. I tested it out on my kid's Switch, and I'm like, holy crap, this looks terrible. It looked so bad. Later, Mahendra. It's an old photo? Okay. This is why Counter-Strike 2 always claims the #1 spot on Steam. You can play that game on a potato. Yeah, I mean, but Counter-Strike doesn't look good, if we're being honest. At the same time, like you said, you can run it on anything. So, accessibility. People, and somebody put out a poll today, and I cannot remember who it was. I wish I would have bookmarked it for the stream. Somebody put out a poll and said, what matters most to you? You know, gameplay, or how, would you put your computer in performance mode or quality mode, basically, as far as like getting better visuals or getting better performance? And the majority of people pick performance. There are those who say, you know, a balance of both, right? I'm all day. I will let the graphics suffer if it means that the game is going to run smoothly. If it means that I'm going to be able to play without hiccups, crashes, freezing, all that. Because again, games like Battlefield, the beta ran just fine on my computer. Got into matches fast. It looked good. It was running smoothly, and then randomly it would just crash, you know? The Doom meme, yeah, but can I run Doom on it? Exactly. It looked good enough for what it was. Sure. Exactly. He's also the one that came out and said, oh no, if I'd have made that Borderlands movie, it would have been far worse. It's like, oh my God, dude, just shut up. Randy Pitchford is the worst salesman alive. I swear to God, he is like the absolute worst salesperson on the planet. Like, never changed careers at this point, because honestly, I don't know what he would do. Art style and art direction over graphics. Look at Arkham Knight and Witcher. 2015 games that put many games now to shame. Yeah, I think people get hung up on graphics. If we're being honest, I think people focus too much on the graphic quality. And again, This has been a trend with the games that are running on Unreal Engine 4 and 5. It has definitely been a hyper like a massive focus for a lot of current games to try to get that photorealism and shit. And it's like a lot of people don't want that, don't care, don't need it. Okay, well, it looks like there's nobody that I know that's streaming right now to redirect to, so we'll just go ahead and end the stream, I guess. That's crazy. I'm the last one in my little circle of people I know that's streaming. Oh yeah, West Coast, right? But I also play a lot of older games. Yeah. Okay, look at it this way. Look at it this way. In terms of graphic quality, people are playing freaking, Hollow Knight, and the graphics on that game aren't, groundbreaking. Sure, I mean, you could either like the art style or not like the art style, but there's no arguing that game's graphics are nothing revolutionary. That game's graphics are definitely more of a throwback, in my opinion, especially being a side-scrolling game. But the game runs beautifully. It runs perfectly well. It's only like 7 gigabytes. It's a $20 game. I like turtles. Oh my god. I switched scenes. There's no alert for this, but dude, freaking hell with the 5. Smeg. I like turtles too, man. I love turtles. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. But is it a Souls-like turtle, or is it just a turtle? Because you have to get the Souls-like turtle. Because they die and have to respawn. Gameplay is king. Gameplay is king over everything else. Tetris is still number 1. Every copy of Pokemon Trash Game still sell. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Pokemon's just been repackaged so many times at this point, right? Has Pokemon done anything new in the last 10 years? Like, have they ever reinvented anything? Every time I end the stream, you have nothing else to watch. You just listen to music. At least last time, I was smart enough to be like, oh, wait a second. Leon's streaming. He'll be up all night. So I went ahead and redirected the stream, although it took a while to go through. Tonight, it's like, no one else is up. Turtle. Hollow Knight graphics are basically as good as they need to be for the game that it is. Yes. Too many games feel the need to go beyond for no reason. I'm telling you, it's this weird, morbid obsession that these studios have with this photorealism crap. And most of the time, it doesn't look good. All it does is creates this uncanny valley situation where things just look odd. You know it's not real. It almost could be real, but you just don't know why. You just don't know what's wrong with it. Hey, Empress. Philip Chan's live? Well, I don't know Philip Chan. Would that be weird? I could just drop in and redirect, I guess. I'm sure we've bumped into each other before, but I don't know him. Like, I don't know him sexually. No, I don't know him. Not sexually. Nothing gay. Pal World's better than Pokemon. I will say, from the time that I played Pal World, which is only for like about a week, I really enjoyed it for what it was. Like I said, it wasn't as good, in my opinion, as a game like Valheim, so I just kind of dropped it and moved on. Let me see if I can find Philip Chan. Hang on a second. What's his is it Project Egg Roll? Is that the channel name, or is his channel name actually Philip Chan? That's why Nintendo's afraid of Pocket Pair. Oh, no shit. Hey, I was seeing a lot of people like Hypnotic and Fratanga and stuff sharing videos that Nintendo won their lawsuit. Is that true? Project Egg Roll. Let me see. I think that's him. Except he's not live. There's got to be a different channel. It's Philip Chan. Okay. He must have 2 different channels. Oh, he is live. There we go. All right, I'm going to hit subscribe so I can find him. We'll do a quick redirect over to Philip Chan. That's what we'll do. Witness every strand of pink hair with this highly unnecessary and specific game engine. Dude, no shit. That is legit exactly what happens. They won a lawsuit against a pirate. Oh, Nintendo won against some dude who sold modded consoles and pirate stuff. Okay. Hey, Joe Darkness. Pokemon catching the monster isn't new. No, I mean, there's... Oh, good luck. Have fun with that. They won against Mig. Oh, is that the guy that made the Mig Switch? What? Dude, that's nuts. Hey, we got a dislike on the stream. Sweet. I was noticing my last 3 streams were 100% all likes. And I'm like, what that tells me is no one outside of my subscriber base is seeing my videos or my live stream. So getting a downvote actually makes me happy because that tells me that somebody outside of my viewer base actually saw the stream. Like, yay! All right, redirect. Here we go. Philip Chan. Although I don't know him. It's okay. Here we go. All right, that's set, guys. So what I'll do is we'll drop over there real quick. I have to hit the hay. I got to get to work tomorrow. But once the stream ends, it should send us everybody over to his channel. I'll pop in and say hey real quick, and then I'll probably be on Wednesday. God, I got to actually spend some time getting a freaking video recorded. It's been like 2 weeks now. I've lost track at this point. Stream is just another boring white guy. IGN 7 out of 10. Oh my god, dude. Dude. Yes. Exactly. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and hit end real quick and wrap things up so we can get everybody over to Philip Chan. All right, guys. I might be here Wednesday.